Hi, it's 5:45, so I'm gonna call the Concord School Committee to order. Andrew is out today, so I will be sitting in his place.
And Michelle.
Is online. Hi, Michelle. Great, Lori, can I turn it over to you?
Sure, and I pass it off pretty quickly. Tonight, we wanted to share with you the updated plans for phase 2 of the Thoreau Playground project. So Justin Sparks is on, Tyler King from CHA, our design team, just wants to give you the update and talk you through the plan. And with your approval, we would like to really hit the ground running to do the work in the spring. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Sparks.
Thanks, Lori. Good evening. First, I appreciate the committee carving out some time tonight for us to talk a little bit about phase 2 of our playground project, Thoreau's backyard. So we set out on this endeavor almost 2 years ago, which seems crazy, with a vision really to create a play space for all students that was nature inspired, inclusive, and fun. And I am incredibly grateful for the opportunity to have been a part of the process and for all of the collaboration across with different stakeholders and boards and committees across town. It's been a great learning experience for me, and we're really excited for the possibility of hopefully bringing this to life. So I'll share with you phase 2, and Lori has given me screen sharing privileges, so just bear with me for a moment. Can you see my screen?
Yep, mostly.
Yes,
Just
you're all set.
ignore all the tabs up top.
Looks like
We have a lot of fun with each other as leaders about what the number of tabs says about it.
I would have deleted them, but I came quickly from my son's basketball game, so I didn't.
It's all right. They just learned a little more about you, that's all.
That's great. So you're going to see here, and Tyler can chime in too. This area here is the existing playground that was built through the summer and partly into the fall. The main structure here being the rope structure with the spinners and the zip lines, the monkey bars and all that stuff. And I have to say that Joe McMahon and Altiplay did a fantastic job. And still to this day, if I have a question about something or something breaks or goes wrong, he picks up the phone and helps. So this has been a real win for the kids in the community. It's great to leaving, as the sun is setting. It's great to hear the laughter of kids playing out on the playground. Although it's a little snow covered right now, they're really enjoying it. So that's one area, and on the other side is the swing set, which was installed. So the nature play area is what you're seeing in the middle and all around it. And it includes what you're going to see here and these are paths, which are made of decomposed granite. And all through here, you'll see native species, perennials and trees. And up here by D is a natural boulder barrier, which will separate the, hopefully the upgraded parking lot with the play space. In here, you'll see benches, playhouses, boardwalks, sand play, little meeting areas, dry rock riverbed, and so much more, all labeled up top. And we learned through our research and surveying kids when we were at the beginning phases of the project that not all children want to swing real fast and spin and climb really high and slide. So what we asked them was, well, what do you like to do when you play? And they said, we like to sit, we like to talk, read, we like to be imaginative, we like to be in the woods. So this portion of the playground really gets at that part of play. So we're really excited about it. And I have to say, Tyler and his team at CHA did a phenomenal job bringing all of the community input and feedback and really just some sketches and some graphics to life. So I'll turn it over to him if Tyler has anything to add, and happy to take any questions or feedback from the committee.
Yeah, I do have Nick Schwartz and Jenna Greco. They're on the attendees list on the call. They're the landscape architects with CHA. If they're um, able to speak, they can run through a little more or answer any questions we may have. But yeah, we've been working with the Thoreau team for, as Justin said, the past couple of years, and it's exciting to see this come to fruition. And we worked with Principal Sparks and the playground committee based on their goals that they wanted to see, and that gave us a starting point for our design. And we've had some iterative comments from them, and we've incorporated those into the plan that you see here. So, we can't wait to see it come to fruition.
Could one of you talk a little bit about accessibility, since we've spent a lot of time on that?
Yeah, I can take that. I'm Jenna Greco. I've been working on this design, and we've been really excited to work on the design of this nature space. So for accessibility, all of the pathways are accessible besides the stepping stone shortcuts that you can see labeled as C on the plan. There are also, there's an accessible picnic table labeled as L on the plan. And then there are, I think, a total of 6 benches, with 3 of which will be accessible. And the boardwalks that cross the river feature are also fully accessible. So, and as well as the play space, the elevated sand table is fully accessible. So it's actually a table, and we do have an image, a slide with images on it. I don't know if you have that, Justin, to share, but that has some images of, yeah, right there. So you can see that accessible elevated sand table is the perfect height to allow a wheelchair to roll right up to it. And I'm happy to talk about any of these other features. We also have some images of planting inspiration if you scroll down one more slide. So these are the proposed species that we've included in the design. So we have some different tree species, as well as perennials and some grasses. So yeah, I think Justin did a good job of kind of going through the design elements, but hopefully that answers the question about the accessibility.
Just in terms of maintenance too, when we set out, we wanted the playground obviously to look really nice, lots of color. Native species was a must from a sustainability point.
Yep.
And we wanted something that was as low maintenance as we could manage. So a lot of these trees, and I know Nick is on too, are low maintenance and not drought tolerant, I believe is the term.
Yes.
So they'll need some time, obviously, to settle in for the first couple of years. But after that, it should be just some light cleanup.
Yeah, and from a maintenance perspective, thanks, Justin. I'm Nick Schwartz. We really looked at making sure, as we looked at it, to reduce the maintenance load as much as possible. So a lot of the perennials, they're just a cut at the end of the season, and they come back naturally the next year. So, really looked at how to really maximize the ability to have people interact with it, with the landscape, but also making sure that we were cognizant of the abilities and the time that the current staff has to dedicate to the maintenance aspect of things.
Well, I know I was the liaison for this committee, and there's been a lot of thoughtful conversation around all of these topics. So thanks to Justin and the team for leading that, and then to of course, all the volunteers who have spent endless hours fundraising and participating in designs and asking questions and whatnot. So just a big thank you to everybody. We voted on this last spring before we went into phase 1, and this is because phase 1 is now complete. The thought was this has now been really pulled out, really specific details for phase 2. We wanted to bring it back to the committee to take a second look and get your perspective, answer questions, and then hopefully vote on, so they can move forward with the RFP. Does anybody have any questions?
When is this expected to get done?
So we're thinking of going to bid soon, and what's your timeline expectation? I'm asking Bob for those of you on Zoom.
The hope would be that we can do this summer. There's some work, I think Tyler and his team at CHA are nearly ready. There's, these are a presentation, but we have to prepare a full set of bid specs. And then we have to advertise, and so we wanna go out fairly soon, sometime in March, and then allow people a little time to respond. And then we have to give enough advance notice that we can attract bidders who can plan to do the work in the summer.
I think Michelle has a question online.
Oh, Michelle, yeah.
Hi. Justin, can you go to the picture of the stump circle?
Mhm.
Yeah, does that leave any space for a wheelchair or, you know, a child with a mobility impairment to join the circle?
Yes,
without them?
that space does. Actually, we looked at the initial the logs that were proposed, and they were made of granite, I believe, and we decided that those would be cut. So we're looking at sort of reimagining that space, but hopefully we'll have something similar with more of a natural tree look, and definitely room for a wheelchair user to engage with peers.
Excellent, thank you.
Any other questions?
I move to approve phase 2 of the Thoreau playground.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Great. All right, thank you. Thanks, Justin, Tyler,
Thank you so much.
Jenna, Nick, appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, we appreciate
Thank
it.
All
you.
right, bye-bye.
Justin, you can close one tab now.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. And with that, I'll invite our Carlisle members to join us.
So, you got the papers over there, 'cause we're gonna need that for our people coming to talk to us.
Give you a minute to get settled.
Thank you.
All right, and with that, I will call the Concord Carlisle Regional School Committee to order. It is just about 6 o'clock. I think we're in good shape there, and I just wanna mention we have a very extensive agenda tonight, so we're really gonna do our best to stay on time. Brian's gonna help me be a timekeeper to make sure we're just being efficient as we can. Okay, so with that, yep, we're gonna start with the recognitions. We have our DECA group with us. DECA's first. You guys can, oh yes, sit up here, yeah. Is Mark coming with you guys? He'll be here soon. Okay, so he can just join you guys. And you can also take one of those story of the schools with you. Those are for you guys to have. Yeah. Okay. So with that, our DECA students are here, I believe with their advisor,
Yeah, Nuna's here.
Nuna Pinto.
Yep.
So you can come on
Come on
up.
up, all of you. I will screen share.
I think they have something to share with us. I've sent the school committee what DECA is. So DECA is a relatively new student group at our high school. Is it 2 years maybe?
This is second year, but our first year computing.
Okay, first year competing. Okay, so we're looking forward to hearing about it.
So I still have an issue where I can't go into slideshow mode, so
That's
bear
okay.
with it like it is, if you can. So welcome, it's all yours to take away.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mrs. Pinto, or Nuna Pinto. So I'm going to present a little bit about DECA, which is a big thing here in Massachusetts and all over the states. And it's an international business club. Next slide, please. So first, I would like to tell you how I got involved. So maybe some of you might know I'm primarily a French teacher, but this is my second career. So first, I was working for one of the biggest retail company in Canada called Shoppers Drug Mart, retail company of pharmaceutical and beauty products. And then after, I got my own business and I did some transaction business because I studied at HEC Montreal. I did my undergraduate in marketing and management. So I always had this edge for business. And when Terry Smolka retired, I heard that she was teaching a class called Introduction to Marketing, and nobody was taking over. So I thought, oh, with my background, I would be a good fit. But not everyone can take a course, with the full load. And Terry told me about DECA, and I thought I'm gonna inquire about it, before opening the club. And I went as a judge as the district office, and then at the district conference, and then at the state conference to know what the students would have to face, because being an advisor is good, but you want to know what it would be like. So I had a good feeling about it. And then at about the same time, Kevin, Alden, Luca, and Charles were talking about that. So they were in the process of getting it approved, and they will talk to you a little bit about that. And this really falls within the vision of a graduate. We want to get the CCHS students ready for the real world. They will explain to you later. It's all about role play, like knowing how to pay for your credit card, or what is customer service. So this is why I thought that it would be good to get involved. And so we really created the club in January of last year. So we weren't allowed to compete yet, but I thought this would be good instead of starting in September and only have like 3 months to get ready. So that's why I think we did really well on top of doing the introduction to marketing. So next slide, please.
Hi everyone, I'm Kevin and I'm a senior at Concord Carlisle High School, and DECA is a business club, and so for example, some of the roles include projects, making your own business plans and proposing them to people who are supposed to be investors. And to me, that's something that's really crucial to an education, because when I get out of high school, go to college, I'm kind of dropped into the world where, one, I don't know how to pay taxes, two, I don't know how to do anything with business, right? And so we need something that teaches students how to be prepared if they want to do anything with business, anything to do with finance. You have to have a club for that. And so that's kind of where I stepped in. I realized that currently there's not much opportunities for a student at CC, and I decided to kind of channel my own business interests and find a group of friends that are also like-minded. And so to me, business kind of stemmed from my first passion, which is research. And so research, I realized some things that I were doing was Alzheimer's, drugs discovering, and all of that kind of led me to realizing that none of it could kind of leave the lab without business. And so my interest in business was derived from pharmaceutical research and development, which also indirectly tied into my public health interest. And for my event in December, I competed in business service operations research, where I proposed a public health solution to Concord public schools to reduce teacher absences, sickness among students, and substitute costs. And what I proposed was using medical grade UV lights around the school building, which is an AI image of CC with UV lights, which is why it's so purple. And that actually shows that research proves that it can actually kill 96% of virus in airborne viruses, and could also completely prevent COVID-19 in guinea pigs. And so by doing that, I eliminated teacher absences by 50% in a model, which would actually save the school district about $3 million over 44 years of the lifespan.
Next.
My name's Alden Potter. I'm the other co-president and co-founder of DECA. In my event for the district conference, I chose personal financial literacy, which I kind of had an interest in. I took the class for it in CCHS, and it kind of sparked my interest in that. And then in my event specifically, we had a 10-minute role play where we present to a judge, and then a 100-question multiple choice exam, which we did prior, which was a lot. But I pretended to be a advisor, giving a financial plan to a young adult who was opening a new credit card, and I provided information about credit score and things like that. And the one thing I really like about DECA is the real world applicable skills that you can learn from it. It's definitely going to be helpful in my future career. And I'm studying the same thing in college, so I'm very excited to bring that with me, and I feel like DECA has been a big help for that.
Hi everyone, I'm Isabel. I'm a senior and I'm the current chief of marketing at DECA. I competed in the apparel and accessories marketing event where I was presenting a solution on how to prevent fraud in stores. I think this was a great experience. I connected with a lot of other students interested in business. I know business is always something that I wanted to go into. I'm going to college in the fall for business and law. And I learned so many skills that'll help me in both, which I think is really crucial. So no matter what field you're going into, you're learning these skills that can help you pretty much anywhere. I know I've always been tough with public speaking and being confident when presenting really big and important things. And I think this has really brought me out of my shell and prepare me how to present in the future, especially just with the soft skills. And yeah, for me, it was just a great experience.
Hi everyone, I'm Mia. I am the Chief of Finance and I'm a junior at CCHS. And in the district conferences in December, I competed in retail merchandising. And we had a 10 minutes to have our solution, and you had to come up with a plan, and then you had 10 minutes to present it in front of a judge. And my presentation was based on organizing and promoting an event for a library city, and mainly getting the younger generation to come into this library rather than just the older generation. And I did really well at the district conferences, and we're all going to the States in March, which we'll talk about more later. And I thought this was a really great new experience, since this is DECA's first time competing. And it was a little nerve-wracking, I bet, I think, for all of us. But everyone did amazing, and 12 people are going to states, and it was really great meeting other students that had the same goals in business, whether that's marketing, entrepreneurship, finance, or anything else. And it was really just a great opportunity to have an introduction to real world scenarios that you would find in the business world.
Just let me jump in just to give you a picture, a number. So at the district conference, we had about 1,200 students compete from different schools. And at the state conference, we will have about 4,000 students compete from Massachusetts, and 12 of them, out of 34 students who competed, 12 advanced.
Yeah, and so I want to jump back to starting DECA and the whole planning process of it. And as I said, we thought that there was kind of this gap in financial preparation for students, and also knowing how much business can help students. It's not just about what they're learning about, which is fraud or credit card. What they're really learning is the fact that they're able to speak to an adult who is a professional in their field, and be able to be okay that they're not the person that's knowing everything, but still okay to share with them, talk with them, and kind of be able to speak as an adult. And that, I think, is a really important part of our education, is being able to actually learn how to interact with other people in the real world and network with others, which is one of DECA's core ideals. And so what we did was, given the lack of clubs, I met with Alden and Charlie, who also had similar interests and ran into the same problem, and we start the process to create our own club. And Alden will share more about the action.
Yeah, so after we kind of decided, we wanted to gain signatures for DECA, and then with that we brought it to the Student Senate, who after that they were a little wary to pass it, just because they didn't want to be redundant with clubs. We had a similar one at our school called Financial Literacy Club, but after a lot of back and forth and convincing them to pass it, we finally got it passed after the competition season was over. And then our first meeting we had 70 members, which kind of shows there was just a lot of interest in the club and in business just right after it started. And then after that, we've just been continuing with meetings and have competed this year.
Yeah, and so that kind of brings us to this year. This is our first year as a recognized chapter, which is really important because of all the back and forth with the Senate. We actually missed the sign up for the previous year. And so this year, it's the first year that our school is competing in this district tournament. And we had a ton of registered members, which shows the commitment. And we also hosted events, practices. So all these students who are doing marketing, research, personal finance, all of that, they're all able to practice and prepare for the big tournament, which was the district's one. And as we said, there was over 1,000 total competitors, and we brought 36 students from Concord Carlisle, and we had one of the highest percentages of students going to states, which was 12 students finishing in top 4 of their event out of the 1,000 total competitors. So then we move on to states.
Yeah, so the states event is like a lot bigger. It has like around 4,000 members, and after, if you get top 4 in states, you qualify for the national event, which is in Georgia. It's called ICDC, and it costs $500 to bring like per student. So like we're trying to kind of fundraise money for that. We're doing a lot of fundraising campaigns at our school, and yeah, we're really excited to go to the state event.
And this was just like a picture of all like the state qualifiers from the district conference.
So this was as a single role play on first day. On the second day, it was team play. Team role.
And then me and Mia will talk about fundraising. As we've told you, it's $500 per student to go to states, rounding up to about $7,500. That's quite a lot of money, but we were able to kind of get our creative senses out and try to come up with things that our CCHS community could also come to. So just this Monday, we hosted a Chipotle fundraiser. Next month, we're hosting a pickleball tournament. And we are also partnered with our local Dino's and Rossini's restaurants. They'll be doing a similar thing to the Chipotle fundraiser. And just like the whole process of like reaching out to people and being humbled by no response, I think has also just been a skill in itself. I like, even that has just been like, it's just about DECA. Like DECA can bring that out to you because most schools will have to fundraise to get their students out there. And I think it's just been a great learning experience for me, but it's also been so fun to bring these things together.
So more about like the Chipotle fundraiser. So that was like this past Monday. I think that we did a really good job of like promoting it, and I was like kind of like the one that organizing and started it all up. But I did have like help from like other fellow DECA members to get the word out there. And basically how it works is that like Chipotle provided us with like a little code once I got accepted for like the DECA, and you can like either online order or order in store, and like 25% of all the funds that are raised that night using the code goes to DECA. I haven't gotten the total amount just because it takes a couple weeks to get that sorted out through Chipotle's end. But I am really confident that we did get a lot of money through that. And we're also going to get a lot of money through the pickleball tournament that will go towards the funds that go for the states.
And we're doing the same thing at Dino's on February 10th, so everybody please go. And then Mia and I also took the marketing class with Ms. Pinto this year, which I think was such a valuable resource. I really don't think I could have competed as well as I did without this. It was more focused towards guiding DECA students through their competition, because 30 minutes every Friday morning isn't always going to be enough. But we did have also a lot of outside DECA members, and I think that also, like, you could also see the impact in them, whether they competed or not, because we learned such valuable skills, and just we really did interactive things with companies that we all know, and we really got to learn like deep behind the scenes of what marketing is and what business is as a whole, which I also think helps.
And to add on, we also, Ms. Pinto asked a bunch of guest speakers locally, and we had maybe like 4 or 5 speakers, which I thought was really inspirational to hear from adults that have like gone through this and like in the business world, and hear the like step-by-steps of like their careers. And I thought it was just really inspirational to like hear all of these like adults and like how they like started off here and how they grew.
Yeah, and so to wrap up with our future plans, so since 3 of us here are seniors, we really hope that this club will continue, and we hope that it will spark future students, upcoming freshmen, even middle schoolers, which other schools do. And we really want DECA to be an integral part of a kid's education and have it continue to be one of the biggest clubs, and prepare students throughout Concord and Carlisle to thrive. And no matter what field you're doing, you're always going to need the skills to talk to people, to communicate, to collaborate, to find mentors. And that's kind of what DECA is about. So thank you so much for allowing us to have your time.
And also, I just want to mention that the college I'm going to next fall has a DECA collegiate program, which I was automatically accepted to because of this. And I think that really gave me such a great opportunity to continue these plans and learning these skills. So I'm really proud of what we brought together.
DECA is really big, so big that in some schools, students have to take an exam to be part of the club.
Wow.
So
It's very competitive.
it's great. Thank you for your time.
Thank
Thank you so much for coming to us. Congratulations. Good luck at States.
Do you have any questions?
You know, it's so funny because this is exactly where the school committee does interact with clubs. Like I think about, you started a club, it got approved, you went through the whole process, it was student led, so you know, it's great to see that students are leading these clubs, they have an advisor that can come in and make it happen for them, so we really appreciate that. And I just had one question about States, so it's March 14th,
March 12th to 14th.
12th to 14th.
Yes.
And do you stay in
We are
Boston?
mandated to stay unless our school is located less than 10 miles from
They're
Boston.
staying.
Great.
Because the activities run until like 10 p.m. and the next day we have to be there at 8. So this is why it's costing so much because they're reserving all those fancy hotels,
Yes.
you know. So I actually had to collaborate with a school from Boston. So 2 girls will stay with 2 girls from Boston.
Oh, great.
So we
That's
can
great.
share, we cut cost, you know.
Well, good luck and let us know how you do.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Another question, so if there is somebody who's curious about this, the high school, what is one thing you'd like them to know?
Let's take this. Can we each say one actually?
Yeah.
Alright, I'll start. I want people to realize that it doesn't matter if you don't want to do business in the future. I don't care if you want to be a nurse, engineer, but I want to say that there's over 80 different events in DECA. You're gonna find one that specifically matches something that you're gonna want to do in the future. And the real experience that I've gotten out of it is being able to sit across the table from someone who obviously knows way more than what I'm talking about, and being okay with putting myself in a vulnerable position and being able to learn from that.
I think one thing is like a lot of students kind of want to join clubs to become like the leaders of them or like become like kind of like chief officers. But in DECA, the good thing about it is like no matter your position, you can still compete and like assert yourself like intellectually, and then you can like qualify for things regardless of your position. So I think it's a really good opportunity for students who are like especially younger, who don't have like the time in the school to like be nominated to those club positions. I think they should really consider doing DECA.
I thought one of the really important things is that it really opens up like a new experience to like real world like business like scenarios, and like you're kind of put in this like position where you have to like dress up and you really have to like present like using like all your knowledge to someone who like obviously like Kevin said like knows a lot more than you do. And I thought it was just like a really like great opportunity, and like I thought it was like a great like challenge too.
Yeah, and then I'll kind of touch on my point earlier about soft skills. I think that's like one of the most valuable things I've learned. I barely even knew how to have a firm handshake, and I think I've come out of it like much more professional. Yeah, I mean, I was so in my shell about public speaking. I don't think I could have done this a couple months ago, and I think that's just really just proof of how valuable DECA is, no matter where you're going.
It's great. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
I'll say it again, best part of our meetings, definitely all the students from the high school. So with that, I'm gonna turn it over to, we're gonna do.
I would do
quick-
the kids.
Let's do the student update first. So usually it's a superintendent update, but we're gonna be real quick today. So I'm gonna turn it over to Mark and Evelyn and Maddie.
Yes, I think, let's see,
Do you have something to share?
yes, who should I share it?
Send it to me.
Great.
Yeah, I'll just.
They were talking about it the last, I'm in DECA, so they've been talking about this the last couple
perfect.
weeks. And they didn't really get it.
Of course, yeah, I know,
It's
I
been-
just heard, of course you're in DECA.
But it's been like, they've been like nonstop with the fundraising, they were thinking of ideas, like what could they do? So,
That's
like,
great.
pull, I think everything's working out great, so.
Sounds great. Okay, so
So, yay, it's already. So, we had, I think the last time we were talking to you guys, we were just coming up onto like midterms and the end and also the start. So the end of semester 1 and the start of semester 2, which has been really exciting because for a lot of juniors and seniors, that means a lot of new classes, especially for social studies and things like that, which I think is really exciting for everyone. And also for us, it's our last semester. And so like everything kind of is winding down, which is really crazy. So I mean, we're hearing about stuff like we ordered our cap and gown a little while ago, and now people are talking about like grad parties and like the invites from like parents. And
I'm sorry, you're gonna make me cry over that.
I know, so it's kind of crazy for us to kind of see that winding down, but also really exciting for a lot of students right now. With a fresh little start, so.
Yeah, okay, and then another thing we had recently was Senate had helped, or sorry, NHS actually, I'm getting confused, helped out with curriculum night. So that was where 8th grade parents came to the high school and the principals would give an information session in the auditorium, and then he came out. And this was the first year that I'm on the NHS leadership team, I'm a secretary, and we decided to help out with coordinating all the student volunteers because they want students to come and they'll give the parents tours of the school and just talk about things they're interested in and things that are good to know for the rising freshmen. So we helped out with that. We organized, I think, 30 volunteers, and it's done great. I have one of my sisters is going to be coming to CCHS next year, so my mom was there and she said it all went really well.
And I don't know much about it, but I know that Debate just hosted a tournament at CC, which is really exciting. I think that was this past weekend or really recently. So that was really great for them. I know that that's something that CC is trying to do. I know Science Olympiad was trying to host a tournament. We ended up doing that. So I think that's something that's cool. There's a lot of overlap with leadership there. I think Kevin actually might have run the club who was just talking about DECA here. So yeah. And then
some who just had their DCLs and they're preparing for sectionals. A lot of hard practices. I wasn't able to compete. I watched, I'm on dive, so I wasn't able to compete in the meet because I didn't have a 6 dive list yet because it's my first year. But the kids that did, they did amazing. We won, of course, and then
It's great.
we all. But our divers are amazing.
But
and
you know
our
what, I love it. So you started diving this year
Yes.
and you've never done diving before. So
Never
it is
touched a water.
possible to start a sport in high school that you've never done before. So it's
Junior
great.
year, it was scary, but
Good for you.
it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun.
Okay, so last night the men's basketball team had their senior night in the gym. I was able to pop in for a little bit of it after my student senate meeting, so I got to go and watch and cheer all the seniors on. We have 5 on the team this year. It was a great crowd. There were a lot of parents, student section going on, and yeah, I think it was a great night for everyone.
yeah, and then we also had the internship opportunity fair, which is an opportunity for seniors in the 4th quarter to kind of have that mentorship, which is a really great preparation for the workforce and things, especially if whether they're going into college next year or not. Just that's a really incredible opportunity, and so I know that happened recently. So yeah, and then also I think we just put this one on here. Bookmark, I guess, which is a club at CC. It's like the reading club, but they're focusing more to like authors and things like that, and kind of bringing in more community engagement, and that's been really great. And so they just had a guest speaker, Katie Burnett, who is the author of Beth is Dead, and I think that she just came on this past Monday, which is really great to speak to a panel. So yeah, and then do you guys know either of them?
I don't know too much about it. I know about MVP Club.
Yeah.
I did the training for the 3 days. I don't know, I could say that it's I haven't been able to do the club because of like Wednesday mornings I have the conflicts, but like the actual program has been like really great. I did the 3-day training that was like the entire day, and we just went through like different role plays and then like just thinking about things in a different way, whether it be like sexual harassment, like racism, like different things, and just like having an open conversation. And it just like, I think it opened everyone's eyes. We were just talking differently and looking at things differently by the end of the 3 days. And I got really close with a lot of the kids because spending what would be like 1 million classes with like the same kids, it was really fun.
And I believe that was, I think last Friday, that was during our flex block, and so they hosted, it was like a college campus safety panel, and that was like 3 officers. I think there was like a police officer and a forensic analysis or person, and I think there was someone else, but I think it was really cool to like have that opportunity if students were around to then go to that. I think it was open just for juniors and seniors, so especially really relevant if we're going on those college campuses next year. So, and then that was redundant.
So we'll move on to things that are upcoming to look forward to. There's auditions for the spring musical. It's too bad we don't have Felicity here to plug that, but I'll try to pull into that. Part of the CC Theater gang, but
What is it this spring? Have they announced?
9 to 5.
Oh,
yes.
classic.
Exactly.
So yeah, auditions will be coming up, and then we'll try to put in some things about the dates for all the shows when they come up in, I think, May or maybe April.
Yeah, no, I know
Probably.
we have a lot of friends who are really excited about
Yeah.
that. There was a lot of like guesswork of what it would be, and I know that my friends are placing bets, but now, or not actual bets, but I think that there's a big relief that it's out and people are really excited, so.
Also with the new semester has been course selections, which we don't really know, I don't know when they're due, but I think it's due like next week or something, Friday. So I know there's a lot of, there's a lot of new courses out there. Like I'm a TA for the constitutional law class, which the lovely Miss Fox teaches, and so she's gonna be doing a new course next semester in the fall. Kind of different, but also similar to constitutional law. That's like, it's more like criminal law, and that's gonna be really interesting. And so I'm helping her, and the other clerks and I were helping to like kind of shape the curriculum and like give her like details. That's really exciting that these new courses are coming in. There are a lot of new courses coming in. I
Yes.
feel like, you know, there's AP Business, there are like different
There are.
things that have
I mean,
not been
we're
adding a lot of APs, and it's kind of a bummer that we're like missing all of it now that we're graduating. But
pre-calc talking about?
yeah, AP Pre-Calc. We were just talking to our math teacher, Mr. Garrett, about that all. And yeah, I mean, we both have younger siblings, and our sisters are both entering the middle or at the high school next year. So that's, I've been helping my sister with course selection.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah, so exciting. And then
It feels so weird
Yeah.
not to be able to like ask anyone because they're like all new classes.
I know.
So we've
Yeah.
never had like AP English, so like understanding if I want to do Lang or Lit or just do like 2 semesters of another one, it's been like difficult, but they've been like the assembly that they had was really, really helpful. I know a lot of my friends, I just like ask the principals if I have a question, but sometimes people don't do that. So I know a lot of my friends were like asking me, but the assembly was really helpful at like just like letting everybody know what this class is, understanding like the AP limit, what the credits mean. Like I think we hear like all these things and there's like misconceptions, but just like the assembly was really good at just like having a flat surface to like move on to.
That's
So
great.
everybody knows what's going on.
Yep, good. And then the next quick thing is about Moot Court, which is starting up later, I think on the 25th. So my partner and I were actually gonna be the first group going, so that's really exciting. But that's gonna be a bracket as I think it will finish in May, I believe. So it's a little bit prolonged, but it's really exciting. Definitely challenging. Questions are gonna be really hard, but I'm starting that prep this week, so reading a lot of majority opinions right now and thumbing through some textbooks. So yeah.
You did it last year too, right?
I didn't do
You
Moot
didn't
Court,
do it
but
last
I did the constitutional law class, which had a mock trial in it. Okay. Yes. And then
Yes. So the ESU is we're trying out this new thing. I emailed and I'm talking to different businesses in Concord. So I talked to Robin's House, Umbrella Art, and a few other ones. I think I reached out to African American Museum and just like I'm in Boston. But I'm just asking them for like research and different people that they think are like important to highlight. And we're trying to do one post each day and they'll have like 3 theme weeks. So this week is Metco, and then next week will be Black Roots in Concord. The following week will be Art and Advocacy, and then the last one will be Legacy and Future. So one's gonna be focusing on like the youth leaders of tomorrow, so people in our club that are like, you know, doing leadership things. That's gonna be the last week, and then the art one is gonna be like highlighting Black art, and I'm gonna reach out to Umbrella to do that one. And Miles has been doing our social media. He's been doing a great job.
Oh, I love the social media today. I mean, I noticed that tonight. I asked
Yeah.
somebody, said, oh, I think Mark does it. I'm like, so we gotta give Miles the credit for doing that.
We do them together. So
Okay,
so
alright.
I've been like, we've been working together on Canva. I think I'm learning how to work with people, but he's really easy to work with. So I'm like, Miles, do you think, I'm like, I don't really have time. Do you think you could like edit this, move this around? And he's like, yeah. So we've been like trying to schedule the post and do one each day, but it's been really easy. And
The scheduling of the post is like game changing, cause then like you can
Yes.
like do it when you have time and then schedule it.
yeah, it's been great. Oh, I can talk about also it's not on here, but the badminton tournament is the top left. We had that today for the early release. It was student government that hosted it. I'm not sure who's on the leading committee, but we do it every year. You know, it's fun. Those are the 2 winners. It's That's Donovan and Charlie.
And then this weekend there's the Lunar New Year Festival, which has become a really huge thing at CC. I know people, everyone just comes to that. It's really special. And then there's also the attached ping pong tournament, which there's been a lot of advertisements around CC and posters for that. I think the person who's running it just came up to me the other day and was like shaking in my face, Dylan. So I think that the turnout for that's gonna be really great, and that's so exciting. So next time we come, we'll have updates from that. I'm sure great photos. So.
Yeah, because CC has a ping pong club that meets after school on Fridays. I always see it when I'm going out to my car, and it's become a really big thing. I'm on Senate. I remember they came and presented, and they seemed really enthusiastic about it. And one of them might be a ping pong player like outside of school, like they do it.
It's like crazy how
but
enthusiastic
it's
everyone
so
is.
big. People just go after school, and that's like, oh, we're going to ping pong club, and it's just in the caf, and it's a great
So they
time.
wheel the ping pong tables into
Yeah, yeah.
They-
They've
sometimes
done-
during lunch those are out on like Feel Good Fridays.
Yeah, Feel Good
Yes.
Fridays. That's
Yes.
super fun. Yeah.
And I mean, Senate just passed, like last night we passed, what was it? Badminton club and then one other club.
The pet one.
Or futsal. So we're passing all these
Futsal.
extra like kind of sports clubs, which
Yeah,
are kind of
so just-
fun. I think after the success of the ping pong club, it's
We just
kind
have to make Mr.
yeah.
Jonkis' time even harder at school.
Yeah.
Okay, and then another thing that's coming up is February break. That's in, I guess, 2 weeks kind of. So that'll be exciting. And with that, it's a little bittersweet for a lot of teams. Like for ski team, we end our regular season then. We'll have our last races. We have one tomorrow, and then we have one next Thursday and next Friday. And then after that, there's playoffs for a bunch of teams. And then there's, for us, we have our states meet for those who qualify. So it's kind of the end, and then spring sports will kick in halfway through March about.
Yeah.
And then there's also a winter instrumental concert that'll be coming up. I'm not in band or orchestra, so I don't know a ton about it, but I think that should be coming up, and we'll get more information when that's closer. One more thing, I believe the French Quebec trip is coming up as well. I think that's this weekend. I know because Madame Pinto, who's just in here, she's going, and then my English teacher, Mr. Patterson, is also going. And it seems like a really fun trip. I had a few friends who went on it our sophomore year, and they get to go, and there's dog sledding, and there's candy, and there's a winter carnival. She showed us videos of the dog sledding. It seems so fun. Yeah, so that's a great time just for the French immersion, getting to know new people across grades, and yeah. And I think that's everything we have for tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. You're busy.
Yeah.
Thank you. You can take those with you. That's our story of the schools that we've been working on, so feel free to.
Awesome. Thank you so
peruse it.
much.
Thank you. Thanks for the update. It's really good.
Did you get your hoodie? Did you get the BSU hoodie?
Oh, was it at the high school? And I missed
Yeah.
it? I'll get it when I'm there tomorrow.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, and with that, I'm gonna turn to Lori really briefly. We're gonna give very quick updates, because I think most of the discussion will happen during a meeting.
The one thing I wanted to highlight was the beginning of our anti-hate series that the district's collaborating on with many groups in town. Last week we started the series with the Facing History program, which honestly, that was incredibly great, and just as powerful or even more was the mingling of the groups beforehand, and then the very quick introductions each group gave. I mean, it really, there's such a coalition growing in town of groups all on the same path towards anti-hate. And if the schools can help be a spoke to that, we're excited to be that. And it just felt like everyone getting in the same room is how we start to make change. So I'm really grateful for everyone who came out, and some great conversations started. The Carlos Hoyt series starts this week for 3 sessions, to be concluded then at the end of March with Robin Oakes coming to talk about LGBTQ. So we're just gonna keep talking about it, because we just want more and more people to engage and be part of the discussion of how we make it better. So thank you.
Okay, and I'm just gonna be really brief. For the school committee, I have put one of these here, so just huge shout out to Carrie Rankin, who really pulled us over the finish line for Story of the Schools. Yes, applause for Carrie.
Everybody did it.
Thank you.
No,
It was a great team, but thank you, Carrie. So this is available online for anyone that's watching out there. We have some hard copies of it. And I think, it really showcases what we've done at our schools. We've put them around the room, so people that join us for school committee can take kind of a look at our posters, and just, it's really impressive, some of the things that are happening in our schools. We've heard from all these students tonight, and every time we get student groups in here, it's just, they bring something different to the table. So it really helps inform us of what we're doing here at school committee. So that's all I have, and then I'll turn it to Aisha Michelle. You guys have anything?
Yeah, so one of the things that I just wanna say thank you. I've gotten so much support over the last couple of months from Concord and Carlisle. We've had ongoing discussions and I just love it, cause I think that's what that's the Concord that I know. This year, we've had some tough discussions here, we've had some tough meetings here. And it seems like every time DEI initiatives are brought up or MECO's brought up, it's kind of met with hostility and aggressions that I'm not used to. I think that the Concord that I fell in love with as a teenager and the Concord that I chose my son to go to is not the Concord that has been represented in this committee this year. So hopefully going forward, we can change that, like, with the meetings that we're having at the school and, about anti-hate and stuff. One of the things that I think that as MECO reps that we're gonna try to put together is kind of like, we have some amazing MECO parents and MECO families that are doing, really good things in the community, both here in Boston and in Concord. So I think that to highlight them so we can paint the picture of what a MECO family actually looks like, so we can, have a more inclusive environment here in the committee and in Concord. I know some parents have reached out with, some worried about the climate at the school with the MECO students. So I just wanna try to ease that and, move forward in a positive way.
Thank you, Aisha. I know that I recently heard we're gonna have a MECO representative on the PTG at Alcott. Solange reached out to me last week, so I haven't heard who that's gonna be, but that's something moving forward, which I think is gonna be really helpful, having a MECO perspective when they're planning events. It's something that I had voiced early in the year, so I'm excited for that change. I voiced it after a couple other parents had reached out to me, and I think that we're meeting with Laurie next week, the MECO team and the reps. So I'm looking forward to that as well. So that's all I got. Thank you.
All right, and our next joint meeting, I should have said, is definitely scheduled at the Croc Center. So we actually have our official paperwork now. So it's our first meeting of the month. Our regional meeting will be in Boston, so just, make sure you block that in your schedule because it will just take some time to go in. Some years we've done a bus in, some years we just go in separately. We haven't really thought about that. One year we actually ran the whole MECO route, the opposite route, and I actually thought it was great, like to just get kind of the experience of, where the bus stops are and then going to the Croc Center. The Croc Center isn't a bus stop, right? Croc Center's not a bus stop. No, but we did go through, kind of what that looks like. So more to come on that if we choose to do it that way this year, if we go in separately.
What's the date on that again?
It's
March
March
4th.
4th.
So that being said, if we get any more snow.
Yeah.
That's always it.
Boston are horrible.
Yeah, it's rough
They're still
right now.
they're still bad.
Yeah.
9 days later, they're still really bad. So if we get any more snow, we'll revisit. We'll
Okay.
revisit it when we get closer.
Okay.
But definitely that's that might be a hint.
Okay, and let's talk more about that for the meeting, because some years we've done pizza ahead of time. So I don't know if we're gonna plan on doing that, if you think that's helpful, so maybe we'll talk offline of that and kind of get that planned. Okay, alright, great.
Can I just give a very quick campus?
Oh, yes, campus completion, yes,
Yeah.
sorry.
So I just wanted to share with everybody, because we haven't talked about campus completion in a while, except for CPA applications to both towns. We have we worked with, over the course of the fall, Michael, Tracy, and me, just to try to identify other foundations that we might approach. We had a list of about 40 within Massachusetts. As we looked at their missions and alignment, we got at best to 3. Michael wrote an excellent letter that we used just to do outreach rather than take the time to fill in the full applications. I finally had time last week to start to send those out. Unfortunately, I don't have any great news yet. The one I got back was we're outside of the scope. They're very, when they say Greater Boston, much closer to Boston proper. But I just wanted the community to know that we're not just waiting on town meetings, that we are trying. I'm less and less optimistic as we pursue this, but we are trying. I know you said that there may be some state grants that we might look at later on in the spring, but so I don't have great news, but just know that other funding is continuing to be pursued.
And I think there is that municipal ADA grant.
Yeah,
That's the
Yeah.
one that's kind of out there, that just our timing last year was not such that it was gonna work, but that's definitely a possibility for the spring. Alright.
Okay, thank you.
Alright, good. Alright, so with that, I will move to public comment. So I'm gonna do my brief version. Public comment is a period of 20 minutes. Each person will have 3 minutes. We'll start with people in the room and go between the room and online. And if you can state your name and address. We will start in the room with Alan Quackenbush.
Do you want me to time?
That would be great.
I was
And Brian's
trying to
gonna be
make
your
sure my
timer.
phone would actually make
Sure,
noise.
just so you know, I already promoted someone with their hand up,
Yep, I see a
so-
hand up. Okay, great.
Alright, go ahead.
So I'm really sorry Andrew isn't here, because I'm really talking about the meeting and some of the unfortunate stuff that happened. So Andrew got my letter, so I know that he knows
And
and
we have
responded.
the letter, Andrew's traveling and he will watch the meeting after.
Oh, good, excellent, excellent.
So you're still speaking to him.
Andrew virtually. So I believe my own name's Ellen Quackenbush, 206 Prairie Street in West Concord. I believe the goal of the Joint Concord School Committee and its chair is a full, civil, and balanced discussion of all topics on its agenda. I'm sad to say that the January 21st meeting fell short of that goal. Halfway through the meeting, Michael Williams requested discussion of the Bias and Hate Reporting Working Group's most recent meeting. Chair Herchuk interrupted him saying, "I know what you're gonna say. It's not on the agenda. So you are in violation of open meeting law, but you can proceed if you want." Sadly, I think that was a divisive tone and hardly a best practice, I think, of the committee. How much better if Andrew had said, perhaps, "Michael, I think I know what you want to discuss, but it's not on the agenda. Can we wait until February 4th, today, meeting, so we can give the topic the time it deserved?" I think that would have been so much better. I also humbly believe that Mr. Herchuk is wrong about open meeting law. I'm on 2 town committees and co-chair of 1. We always have a chair's report to share what the chair and fellow committee members have heard from citizens or observed in recent community meetings that warrant attention. Often these items that have occurred after the agenda was posted. I believe that Mr. Williams' request was totally within the bounds of open meeting law. Mr. Herchuk did not agree and denied his ability to speak. And then I attached the protocol handbook from the Mass Association of School Committees to support what I'm saying. But unfortunately, it, I think, went downhill. When the meeting returned to Mr. Williams' requested topic, Dr. Hunter began an extended discussion relating her interpretation of the discussion she had had with the DA at 3:30 that afternoon. I think effectively negating the validity of Mr. Williams' request. Dr. Hunter's summary was that the DA, quote, is supportive of Concord schools. Dr. Hunter is a town employee and not a member of the school committee. In my humble opinion, she should not have been allowed to speak if a member of the school committee was barred in effect from speaking. I just think that's common decency. If you're gonna have a discussion, have it with everybody. And I wanna say that I believe Dr. Hunter, I know Dr. Hunter cares deeply about the students in the school, so that's not my point. Dr. Hunter is an important voice in the school committee. I just think you should have either old people speak or delay the conversation until the next time and have no one speak. I am optimistic to be able to attend respectful, inclusive school committee meetings in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and we will go online next.
We promoted
And
Gail.
Looks like Gail Hire. I don't see her.
Hi.
Oh, there she is. Okay, go ahead.
So will I get video or no? Do I need to do that, or are we just gonna do?
You should be able to get video.
Oh, you're gonna start video. Okay.
There you are. Thanks.
Hi, thanks. I'm Gail Hire. I don't know if you need my address at 54 Nancy Road in Concord. And I just wanted to make a comment about something I have observed at the high school this year. When I was there for back to school night, I noticed signs in the bathroom with a QR code on them, and they suggested that the reader use the QR code to report any bathroom cleanliness issues or needs. And that was really upsetting to me for a couple of reasons. First of all, no one should be operating their camera app in the bathroom. It's a private area, and I was just kind of upset about seeing that. And then secondly, not everyone has a smartphone with QR, much less a smartphone with QR capability. So I thought that the sign should really say, you know, a name and a phone number or an office or someone who could provide the necessary information if there was some needs in the bathroom. And then more recently, I was in the school and I saw some like brightly colored 8.5 by 11 signs posted on the wall with a smiley face and a QR codes. And I'm not sure what the subject matter was, but just in general, QR codes are an unnecessary distraction for students. They should not be encouraged to take their phones out during the school day. And so I think they're a distraction. Secondly, as I mentioned before, not everyone has a smartphone. So someone might feel left out if they don't have one and they can't scan the QR code. And I think FOMO is really harmful to mental health. And the third issue is safety. QR codes can easily be like phished, or they can direct the camera user to sites that aren't the intended site. And so the fake QR code could lead to something malicious and something like a practical joke or something that really kids should not be seeing in school. So I would love to see a policy that discourages and does not permit QR codes being used at school. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and next we have Margaret Schumacher.
No microphones?
They're all in the ceiling.
Oh, they are?
Yep.
Okay. Margaret Schumacher, 25 Highland Street in West Concord. I want to talk a little bit about bullying incidents and things that are going on in our schools. Certainly they're alive and well, despite the work of our superintendent and everybody else who's working on this stuff. On November 19th, at a school committee meeting, one of the members of the school committee said that there needs to be wider outreach, wider appearance, so people are able to see really what's going on, so everybody can see what's going on, not just a select few that are handling it. And our superintendent replied to the school committee member in a somewhat strident tone, I thought. I was trying to be objective, and laid out the plans that are in place for the perpetrators of bullying incidents. And they were as follows: investigate the crimes, notify police, consequence according to the handbook, and then suspensions. And some of these suspensions are quite tough. I'm a retired teacher, and all of that is good stuff, but it's not really hitting the point. This doesn't seem to be working. I want to bring up a person who spoke in our December 17th school committee meeting, Dr. John Safier, who spoke about, and it really resonated with me, and I would hope it would resonate with all of us, of the importance of an all-school assembly. Getting a bad thing happens, you get the students, you get the staff, everybody is there, the power of the entire school. And I know this from the school, an elementary school that I last worked at. When some bad stuff happened, that's what happened. We would have an all-school assembly. Everybody heard it. Everybody heard the same thing. And the adults set the tone. And it really makes a difference. It shows the leadership. It shows the leadership that this is important. It shows the students this is important. And this is why we are saying this. This is why we're gathering here. And he cited two examples. And the first one was of an autistic boy in a school not too far from here. And again, all school assembly took about 5 minutes. He said, "We have a problem here. We have a problem, and the problem is that we all need to work together. We need empathy and kindness." And what power is that when everybody is sitting in the same room, adults and all the students, not just a few adults working on a problem or,
Sorry to interrupt, we're at 3 minutes.
So, okay, anyway, the power of all school assemblies, it sets the tone, and it's very powerful. Thank you.
Thank you. Online, I don't see anyone online. So we'll go back to the room. Emily Lyons.
Hi there. I'm Emily Lyons. I live at 63 Bruce Road in Concord, and I have 3 kiddos in the schools. I'd like to respectfully request the school committee push for the adoption of a bell-to-bell policy along with required phone storage, either in a pouch or a phone locker for the middle and high schools. Simply asking students to keep cell phones in backpacks is not sufficient. And friends of mine who have kiddos at CMS are telling me that over and over again, kiddos are reporting still using their phones throughout the day at school. To borrow from Emily Brownlee's compelling remarks to the Kansas State Department of Education, in their pockets or backpacks, our children are carrying video cameras, thousands of TikTok and Instagram influencers, Netflix, YouTube, Discord, pics and snaps circulating the school, and communication with strangers all over the world, not to mention gaming, Fortnite, Minecraft, and access to pornography websites as well. Phones prevent face-to-face communication and increase school loneliness. Research suggests that face-to-face interactions are linked to better mental health. The phones interfere with children's ability to practice decision-making, impulse control, and focus, which are all key developmental tasks of childhood and adolescence. A recent study by the Seattle Children's Research Institute found that students spend a quarter of their school day on the phone. And according to Pew Research, 72% of high school teachers report cell phones are a major distraction in the classroom. And 2/3 of students admit that they're distracted by their own devices, and 54% say they're distracted by other students using theirs. And I could go on, but I know that we all are familiar with this research and with the problems that smartphone use in school creates, including cyberbullying, and the list goes on. So the mere presence of a phone, and even one in a backpack, is distracting for students and takes away from their learning environment. So continuing to allow phones at school, even in backpacks, is placing an unfair burden on teachers and on students. So I call on all of us and our responsibility to protect a safe learning environment for all children during the school day. We need to protect our children by instituting a more expansive bell-to-bell policy at our schools. And there needs to be a clear and non-punitive enforcement and consequence policy as well. This is the only solution that lets teachers do their jobs and prioritizes the academic, social, emotional, and mental well-being and safety of our students. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Going back online, don't see any raised hands. So I will close public comment and move on to the consent agenda. So we'll start. Does anyone want to pull anything off the consent agenda before we approve it?
Tracy, sorry, go ahead, you're probably gonna say something.
The minutes on 121 and 1217.
Okay, so let's pull those off. Do you wanna?
Yeah, I'd like to just leave the 1217 ones off so my office can clean them up and reissue them, so we
Okay.
don't have to talk about it.
Okay, so let's completely take off the 1217 minutes, and I'll put that on the next agenda. And what were the other ones, Sandeep?
121.
121. All right.
I'd also like to particularly comment on the January 21st minutes.
Do you want to pull, well, they're pulled off, so let's just try, can we vote on the consent and then talk about the 121 if they're pulled off? Is that okay? All right, thanks. All right, anything else from the consent agenda? No? Okay, so I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item C and item F.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion?
I just wanna thank the donation that we have in there for $10,000 toward an electric vehicle charging station. I thought it was anonymous.
Wait, are you pulling off the executive session minutes from 1217 or the
No,
joint?
The joint.
So D.
Sorry, D. I'm sorry, D. Thanks, Carrie. Yes,
Yes,
thank you
thank
for the
you. Sorry, I didn't
donation
mean
of
to.
$10,000. That is important to say. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Okay, so now we will go to item F, the joint minutes from 121.
Yeah, I want to particularly comment on that. At last meeting, Chair Hurchek attempted to silence my comments when he cut me off stating that what you're about to talk about is not on the agenda. So you're violating open meeting law, and that's up to you. Although his comments were clearly reflected in the video of the meeting, they're not reflected in the minutes as they should be. It is clear that there was no violation, but importantly, I want to go on record to remind the chairs and our committee that no one should be making statements like this and issuing threats of ruling members out of order for simply asking a body to discuss issues of pertinence to our community. This seems to be limiting rather than promoting deliberation. These are things that are crucial to an entire committee, especially people of color and all those that are marginalized. Characterizing issues that we are raising as out of order and disrespectful, threatening to silence the voices of those who are already marginalized is a very old trope. I'm shocked to see it being employed. Weaponizing rules, especially against people of color, as a means to silence them and paint them as lawbreakers is unacceptable and should not be tolerated in any community that is serious about inclusion, belonging, and anti-bias work. It's my sincere hope that we strive to do better. Thank you.
Thank you. Sandy, did you have a comment on those minutes?
Yes, in section 3, it reads, Ms. Murano attended the Vision of Graduate. I think it's supposed to say couldn't attend.
I did not attend the Vision
Did
of
not.
Graduate. Okay, so you would like to amend those minutes to reflect that?
Yes.
And Aisha, yeah?
I just wanna say, in response to what Mr. Williams said, I feel for you that what you went through, and I apologize for that. I think that I ask all our committee members when we see the amount of disrespect and discriminatory acts done at these meetings that we speak up and we don't just let this happen. I mean, I know for me, when it was done to me, it was, how it made me feel. And I just don't think we should just sit silent and not say anything. So I just wanna say I fully support you, and I'm sorry that happened to you.
And I think, given the minutes, I think what everyone can see, people that are attending, people that are watching online, we do have that agenda item on this meeting. So I'm glad that we're able to add it to this meeting. And I think if, and I'll just say publicly to everyone, if there's something that you want on the agenda, send it to the chairs ahead of time and we will get it on the agenda, because that is what happened. So it came on this meeting. It's very hard in the middle of a meeting, like I look at today's meeting, to just put a discussion item on, and so everybody can be prepared for the discussion. So I think we're looking to move forward from that, and there are ways to get it on. And so I hope that people will see that progress moving forward.
But there's a way to be respectful and not treat certain people over and over again the same way. We have to do better.
Okay.
I would have to note that just in this meeting, we saw Brian brought up an important point that was not on the agenda.
He had asked me ahead of time to talk about that in the meeting. I just wanted to let you know that he did. But it's
That is
okay.
our protocol, that if a liaison has an update, to flag it.
Flag it in the meeting, yeah.
Yeah.
So we will, I totally agree, we will do better. And I think as a committee, I would like to try and move forward from this and do better.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah, can I also just say, I'm glad that we're actually putting it now on this agenda, because I think when it was brought up at a Concord meeting.
Yes, and Carlisle was
We
there.
weren't there, and so I think we should all just be mindful of that as well. It's tricky now that we only have the way the meeting
Yeah.
cadence is, but I'm glad we're gonna be able to have it in a full region
Yeah.
meeting tonight.
And I think it gave us an opportunity to go back and watch that meeting that you were referencing, so I had watched it before the meeting, but I'm not sure everybody else had watched it, so this way we can, I'll just be more prepared for the discussion. Okay, so back to the minutes, because I'm sorry to move us on for the formality. So you had an amendment to the minutes. Would you like to amend the minutes at all, Michael?
Oh, you have a print of it, I'll circulate it, I'll get it to you, and we can discuss it.
For the next meeting. Okay, great. So we will not vote on those minutes and we'll make the changes for the next meeting. Thanks. All right. Correspondence, I'm gonna move through really quickly. We had about 4 pieces of correspondence. Everyone should have received it. They were pertaining to cell phones, open meeting law, our protocols. I think that's it. Did we vote on the consent agenda?
Yes, we did, because I
We did,
remember saying
right?
for
We
region.
voted. Oh, okay,
region,
okay,
yes.
sorry.
Sorry.
We did vote and then we didn't vote on this other
Okay,
meeting.
sorry.
So I will make notation for our next meeting. All right. On to the discussion portion. So item A, which we did add onto the agenda, and I felt like it was important to put it first on our agenda. I think it's a topic that people want to talk about, the community wants to hear us talk about it. And we've also invited Detective Harrington from the police department up here, if he'd like to participate at all, if anyone has any questions. So to start this discussion, it really stems from the Bias Hate Incident Working Group that Sandeep is part of, and I know Michael's been in attendance at those meetings too. I watched last night's, you were last night too, right? So I'm gonna, what?
He's there before I show up.
It's very timely. You were very timely today, though, I have to say. So I am gonna leave it to the both of you to start the discussion about that meeting because you were a representative there.
So I can start up, right? So what I wanna do is give a brief update on the specific meeting on Jan 16th for the Bias and Hate Incident Working Group. So since that group convened, I think it was in November, we've been meeting with experts across Commonwealth, essentially to set a baseline on what bias and hate is and what we should be trying to respond.
Can you speak up?
Can you speak up, Sandeep?
We'd love to hear
sorry,
you. We all.
Oh, okay, this way.
Sorry, this is a meeting in the public, not with the public. Sorry, Sandeep.
I'll try better.
Okay,
So,
yep.
Um,
Just address all comments through the chair. Sorry.
sorry, I'll try and speak.
Sorry.
So the group has been hearing from folks across the Commonwealth. During the the Jan 16th meeting, we had DA Marion Ryan for Middlesex County and the Concord Carlisle Human Rights Council both show up and make statements, right? What garnered a lot of attention was what DA Ryan said, and I'm gonna read over here so I don't misquote. She said her office has received a high volume of bias and hate incident reports associated with Concord. In fact, her words were, every single report has come from Concord. Now, she clarified that these reports don't directly come from the school administration. That's what really got all of the folks in this community, on alert, because that's probably not good. We did have Concord PD in the room. They clarified that everything the school administration does, we report to the Concord PD and to the DA's office. Over the next, I guess, few days or so, this is after the meeting kind of, her comments were limited to that. We speculated on why that might be, but not gonna go too much into the speculative reasons. I spoke with the DA over the weekend, a couple of days after that, and the information that was gathered brought to the administration's attention. And as Laurie pointed out, the day of the last school committee meeting, she did in fact reach out to the DA and close the loop. Now, I think Concord Ridge is here. Want to acknowledge the kind of awesome work they did on this, because this is as of yesterday, and again, I'll read over here. They've been working with the DA's, the Concord Ridge, in their report yesterday said the DA's office has fielded 33 reports in 2025, 14 of them from Concord, and all through Concord Police, with 8 of them being school-based, right? So the way I understand it, the process as intended is working, in the sense that any incident that the school finds out, they report to Concord PD reports up to the DA's office. So it is, again, the rest of it I'm gonna throw in my thoughts and my opinions on this. That part of the process where the reporting goes up to the DA's office is working. Closing the loop on what we do about what's collected over there is probably not working. Because if we're not aware of what's being handled or what they're tracking, it's probably something we need to get better at. Let's see, anything else on that? I know folks in the community have brought this up a few times. What we heard that evening is not the standard that Concord wants to hold itself to. Hence, we have to try and do better. And I think finding out where some of these processes break down, where we're not getting the intended result is just the way to do it. So problem's not solved, but I hope we're on the right track and get it corrected. Michael, you wanna add anything?
Yes, the whole purpose of bringing this up contemporaneously was not to have a discussion that night, but to make our community aware that it happens. Since you weren't there, and a great number of people were not at the Church Street, actually at the Harvey Wheeler to hear Dear Ryan speak. The importance of having our community hear sort of firsthand, going to media exactly what was said and let them sit with that for a while is important. I'm pretty certain that everyone that was sitting in that room, jaws dropped when they heard what D.A. Ryan had to say. I believe it's not about the numbers, and I believe from one of the earlier speakers, Carlos Hoyt, there was a review that was done by our DEI commission, I believe in 2022, that pointed up similar concerns about incidents of bias, incidents of hate, incidents of our citizens feeling concerned. Again, this is exclusive of the schools. So I believe Dr. Hoyt suggested at the time, you already know that something's going on, and actually gave the body the latitude to think about thinking outside of the box to try and affect the change that might give the community the feeling that when things occur, someone's paying attention to that and something comes from it. So what I had hoped to do, one, is to get eyes on this. Not that we have a discussion on it, but that eyes would be on what happened 6 days prior to our last school committee meeting. Toward not necessarily thinking about the number of events that occurred, but what the number of events that were relayed appropriately from our schools to our safety resource officers in the school and to our police department and then to the DA's office. Not questioning that whether that system worked, but from what we hear of the numbers, what we glean of the numbers, what does that inform us about how our system is working? What does that inform us about how we're handling things, so our community feels? Do you have thoughts on that one, Ned, or Tracy, Brian, Carrie? Having the numbers is important. Using those numbers to help inform how our processes and policies work, and as part of our goals. Part of our goals was two-way communication on incidents of anti-Semitism, hate, and bias. We chose that as our goals. We should be looking at that information, taking the information of gleaning information from that of how our policies and processes are working, and then having that to and fro dialogue with our community. That's what I wanted to bring up, but that's what I think, over and above the numbers, is what we should use that data to force us to interrogate our processes and then relay what we gain from that to our community. I'm interested in hearing any of your thoughts on that.
I guess what I struggle with is just, so 14 incidents reported in Concord last year, 8 school. And frankly, I mean, anything greater than 0 is not good. But what I'm just, do we have anything year over year? Is there more reporting happening? Is there less?
We don't have that, and that's kind of why we're trying to get that system stood up, right? So it'd be great to have it. And you could argue that if you see a trend line in more reports, it's probably because people are more comfortable with reporting it. So even the metrics on what if we're looking at is unclear. The only thing I'm focused on at this point is, are there any incidents that are are happening in the schools that we don't know about because people are not comfortable. And as far as I know, that is not true, because everything that's happening in the schools, or everything that the DA knows about what's happening in the schools, is because the schools have reported to the Concord PD, and that's gone up.
Is the school resource officer, are they a police officer or just?
Yes, police officers.
And I guess what is expected of the DA's office? Because when I listened to the meeting last night, and she was saying some schools go directly to them. The approach that we're using is the school goes to the police goes to the DA.
Yeah.
But like, then what? Like, what is
It's a fair
expected
point.
there?
And Concord PD, again, please correct me if I'm wrong here, they report to multiple reporting systems, not just the DA's office.
Yeah.
So you report to, I think, 6 different systems, right? Yep,
that is
so
correct.
if you pull, let's say, the AG's office, they might have a different record of how they want this process to work, right? Again, we don't have answers yet, but in my mind, I think if the schools are reporting to Concord PD and they're reporting upwards, that's fine in my book. For the reporting part, right? The more important thing is what are we doing about it?
Right, the action
That-
coming off.
That's something I think we can talk about, again, not to suggest that anything's not working as it's supposed to be, but that we have less insight into. The reporting part, as of now, I don't see any flags in it. So.
But you're saying like when it comes back, or is there any follow through, or like, we don't have those reports that have gone into the DA's office, right? Or do you wanna?
Well, they were
talk about that?
generated from us to the
From
police,
Yes.
so
you
we
guys
do know
to
what
the
we
police.
have.
And there was
We do that.
nothing, but there was nothing else reported from the school per se.
I would
to
be
the
more
DA's
concerned if it
No,
was.
it was all things that
all
we
things that we
we
reported.
communicated.
So there's that's been
I'd be
tightened.
more concerned if it wasn't the case,
Right.
and if
Right.
it
That's
was
what
the
we were all
community
concerned
going.
about.
Yes, right.
That's what, made everybody in the community like, oh my God,
Right.
Right.
rightly so, but thankfully that's not the case.
Yeah.
As far as we know.
Respectfully, I have a very different take on this, but let me ask one question. I'm sorry, I'm blocking. So
That's okay.
are the reporting tool that Middlesex County uses is it the same reporting tool that our police department uses?
What
Middlesex County DA's, she had a document. It was basically the face sheet of the reporting tool for getting information. And I thought I heard from Lieutenant Lanzers, who was there in the meeting that night, that our police department uses the same reporting tool, the document that.
we have we use a universal report that we're sharing with every one of the agencies that we report to.
So is that universal reporting document the same as the Middlesex County's one? Is it just the user interface?
Oh, I understand what you're saying, the requirements of what they're asking.
Yeah.
Well, what we're having our narrative that's coming into us, and then from the portal that they're giving to us, we're providing that information over, and we're responding to the questions and the prompts that they're being provided to us.
Okay, so it's not the same form, but the information from the form that our police department has, that's informed by what we're reporting, gets translated to that.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Again, the view that I have on this is that the numbers can be the numbers. We know the reporting system is intact. The numbers can be the numbers. The salient point to me is that Concord population is 1% of Middlesex County, but we accounted for, and this is cool and community, 100% of what the DA got. There's no way that that's good. In the past 6 months, there's no way that that's good. Let me finish. The take I have from that is, how do we look at that and then use that to inform how we look at the systems that we have in place? And again, that was in 6 months. What happened in the past 6 months? The ADL complaint was revealed 6 months ago. Could that be a trigger? Don't know, but mindful of that, I think looking at, let's accept the numbers are the numbers. Carlos Hoyt said back in 22, we had numbers. Those numbers are the numbers, and it told you that something was going on in town. Looking at both of those sets of numbers, someone that's a professional at the interface of DEI and reporting and diversity and inclusion said that if you've already got the numbers, look larger, examine what you have and look at how it work, how you can make what you have work better for your community and tell your community that. That's where I am. That's why I would hope that we look at what the information we have and use it to help make things better for our community. And that we might not need, and you know Carlos said that, you might not need to make another reporting system. You might need to get the information, talk about this thing, as we're doing now, and this kind of a conversation is what I'd hope for. Have that conversation, pound your ideas together, come out with something better for our community.
So if I'm hearing you, it's those 8 incidents from the school, the 14 for the community. What are the types of incidents or the themes of them, and are there practices that we can adjust?
I spoke with DA Ryan, and I spoke with our police department at length after the meeting. And DA broke down didn't ask for numbers, didn't have to have anything any further anonymized. They broke down basically 4 groups: racial, ethnic, religious, and gender identity based. That was her telling me that was least significant, but not insignificant. The ranking as she gave them to me. Other things that she's said is that when communities come to grips with these issues and work toward them and work constructively toward them, it's difficult work, but they usually get to a good place. When communities don't talk about these issues and work on these issues, they end up having interventions from the police department in her office. And we should not want to be in the latter group. And so it behooves us to, as we said in our goals, communication and community engagement, strengthen two-way communication with stakeholders, deepen collaboration with town leadership, specifically in addressing acts of hate and anti-Semitism in our communities and promoting equity, inclusion, and belonging. We said that about ourselves. We should have this, our select board has talked about this every meeting they've had since July. And it might behoove us, again, not focusing on the number, but focusing on how the numbers we have inform us about our policies and processes, and whether we're good with that or not. We're capable of doing that. We made a commitment that we're gonna do that. That's all I'm asking.
I just have two questions. One is on the it's like a tricky thing. How do you figure out what the numbers mean, right? Because nobody wants to be on that side of that equation. And over the last 2 years, we've spent many minutes, meetings talking about pushing people to that reporting system. And so on the one hand, I feel like that's sort of a win because when we first rolled it out, nobody was using it. And when we started seeing the numbers, we celebrated it because we were like, no, we don't want these incidents happening, but we do want people to feel like they have a safe place to report it should something happen. So on the one hand, I'm grateful that the system that we have spent a lot of time rolling out is working to address issues that we don't want to happen. And on the other hand, I don't disagree with you. I think that you're absolutely right. We need to be thinking about what do we do next, which is my question. What is for the working group, what are the next steps for the and I guess for the charge of the working group, if you could speak to that too.
So you bring up a great point, right? And I want to try and answer that by first saying what Court Booth and the Concord Carlisle
Against anti-Semitism.
it's
Human Rights Council.
So they were the other group that spoke after the DA. He said that was formed in 1978 after witnessing, acts of hate in our community. So this is not new. What's new is the fact that we have a reporting system. What's new is that Concord PD did a great job reporting everything upward. And yes, maybe we don't exactly know the numbers of the last 6 months, but in the last year, 100% was not from Concord, right? Just for the record, 14 of the 33 were. So yes, Concord does a great job reporting. That should not be held against Concord, right? That's one. Now, you asked what the next steps are. We've done the information gathering phase. Now what we're doing is finding out what such systems look like in other towns, in other school districts, in other, state level and FBI and all of them, and kind of create a universal set of what we think are relevant stuff we need to capture within the town. That's step one. Step two is see what all avenues we should have for this tool, in the sense that is it just a tool that is online? Is it somebody manning a phone? Is it texting? Open up the options, right? So imagine what that looks like, and finally come up with a recommendation what we're going to do with the data, because you can collect all the data you want, but if you're not going to act on it, and if you're not going to build trust with the community, it's another dead end. And that's kind of what Carlos White was pointing out. Like, you have the data from 3 years ago, right? You have the data from 30 years ago. We know it existed then. We know it existed 3 years ago. It still exists now. What are you going to do about it? And that's the part that we really don't know.
So I just think that, and I've said this all year, is that the accountability and the transparency part of it, I think we kind of miss. And I've said this since day one, bringing the Concord Police and the DA's office to the table, not on this level, but even on the students' level, like bring them into the school so these children know, like, these are acts of hate and, but they're actually crimes that are being committed. And there's some crimes that are being committed that aren't being dealt with appropriately, and no one's being held accountable. So I just think that bringing the Concord Police and the DA's office to speak to students and just let them know, like, what that looks like and, what can happen, I think would be helpful. Not just at our level, but just with the students as well.
And so maybe we can talk about kind of, whether it's this meeting or a future meeting, like how does that work in concert with the Concord Police Department? I know that you're in touch, the SRO officers are involved in incidences, so that, some of that is definitely happening and the police are at the table.
They're involved in everything.
They're involved in everything.
No, but I mean, like,
Yeah.
maybe like, like someone said, have like an all school assembly, or, just so everyone's aware. And, so they can't say that they didn't know that, calling someone, a racial slur and throwing something at them, that they can be arrested for that. So that we're all aware of it, so, we can't play like, we didn't know.
Again, I think Michelle has a point, but I want to clarify that this is a tool for the town, not the schools, right? And at some point, hopefully the data will flow between, but again, this is a tool for the town.
Yeah. Okay, Michelle?
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to thank the chairs for putting this on as an agenda item. I had asked in November about some of the data regarding the reporting and the trends for some of these incidents. And I'm really interested to know, number one, who manages the reporting tool for the schools? And are any of these incidents recurring reported incidents, or are they all separately reported incidents? And is there a way to kind of rate the severity of these incidents to see, on a scale, how severe or egregious the act is, so that we have an idea of what we're dealing with, like, over time, to kind of track the data?
I can answer the administrators get an automatic flag in their email if a form is filled out. It happened this morning when I was at a meeting at the high school and they got flagged that something had just come in. And then they act on it. I mean, they sent an AP off to go deal with it while I was still in a meeting with them, so they're acting on it immediately. The rest of it depends on what we have for information. Sometimes we have all of it to start with, sometimes we have a lot of investigating to do. A lot of them are, there is a success, I think, in the number of anonymous ones coming in, because that to me says we're creating a structure that is giving a tool that was needed. As for the rest, it range, you know, I'm not sure I wanna be the one to decide what's egregious and not, they're all not okay if something hateful just happened.
Well, I guess like physical contact or verbal, you know, you kind of rate it like that.
It's all verbal, pretty much. So I'm not diminishing the verbal, please, but
Sure.
it's verbal almost always. Yeah.
But there's not one person analyzing the statistics.
Well, each building, so that all the buildings have the same system and it disaggregates by building. So all of the principals and assistant principals are constantly reviewing what comes in. I mean, I will say, I think it's a manageable number. You can hear the numbers you're talking about. Those are manageable for them to quickly know if there's patterns or anything like that emerging. I'd say in general, I mean, they loop me in right away. I'm looping the chief in, they're calling the SRO. Those things are happening simultaneously. So we're all aware of what's happening. And I would say there aren't many repeat offenders, and it's often one-off, thoughtless, careless things that we have work to do. And Michael and I met yesterday, and I think part of it, you know, it's a community effort. I was really encouraged last week, so many people came out to that event. I think this is the kids are being bombarded with messaging right now, conscious and unconscious, whether it's the leaders around all of us, whether it's music or social media or any of it, it's a lot for us to try to negate. And I think those malleable brains are sometimes just doing really impulsive, hurtful things that we need to keep helping them realize the impact of and the power that they're holding when they do that. One thing I feel successful at, not my first choice of words, we've pretty much been able to solve almost every situation this year and been able to address it with the individual students. That's where I feel like we make a difference. We've held assemblies. I'd love to go through more. I know, you know, it's not that we haven't done that. I think we're getting frustrated that it isn't getting us the impact we want. We can have that whole discussion. We've tried to empower the kids. The BSU, last time I met with them a month or so ago, they want an assembly. And then they added, but it has to be someone the kids can relate to. So they're doing some homework to bring us ideas that we'll all vet together. Because you know, if we all have an assembly and it's someone kids are tone deaf to, we know we're missing the mark there. Anyway, so we're all here to collaborate and brainstorm together on how we keep these really important issues in the forefront. Try different things. We're open to things. I suspect it could be worse if we weren't doing everything we're already doing. That doesn't mean it's okay what's happening. But we have a lot of foundational work and preventative work. I feel like now it's like, how do we help young brains that sometimes have a lot going on and are bombarded with messaging? What do we keep doing to help impact that?
Strong argument for phone-free schools.
It's all day, all night, Michael. That's my concern, you know.
But
Yeah.
that's what we can do during the hours that we have the students. And I want to be really clear to remind us that you operationalize things. We look at the overall overall policy.
Yeah.
And frame protocol and assess that. Again, the plea that I would have is that we have information, we have historical and maybe very subjective information that things are happening through a variety of different sources. That we use that along with the,
You're talking about the town or the schools?
both actually, because we are in the town. It is that we look at that and again, interrogate it to look at what we're doing and examining whether or not it and do that at a regular basis. And then come back and, scratch our heads and that was good, but this wasn't. Or everything's great, and that would be wonderful, but that we do that regularly with an eye toward making certain that at the end of the day, people feel comfortable that it might not have been a crime, but and it might not be something that can be fixed by sitting, talking, counseling, or suspending. But because of the way it was handled, I feel that the system I'm in is the best. That's what, because we're not gonna make it zero, but we can make it better.
Laurie, how often do you look at the protocol and see if it's working?
We look at it a lot,
So
which is one reason we step back from the assemblies, but there's never an ending point, so we're always happy to keep talking.
but what Michael suggested is something that is being worked.
Yeah, yes.
So before we close this part of the discussion off, it sounds like we would like this to be an added agenda item in the future. I do think that we need to be cognizant of having our Carlisle members in the room for this. Sandeep,
Yeah,
go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, all of these meetings are like the night before the school committee meetings, so
Yeah.
there's no way I'll get the liaison reports in time for you guys to read until like the next meeting.
So perhaps, now we do our liaison reports written, but maybe what we could do is, if they are right before a meeting, maybe you could just report out of kind of like what's going on, cause what I heard last night from their meeting is really to have this partnership between the town and the schools, and obviously the police department and the DA's office, so I think that the more we can do that and show that we are all in this together, I think that would be helpful, so maybe for that particular liaison role, you can just give the verbal update.
Did
Does
you
that
care if I
sound?
share a couple of things that came up yesterday?
Sure,
In
go right
addition to
ahead, I mean,
starting-
while it's
sorry,
on and then, yep.
Well over the discussion time.
You could still do your written report after too, by the way.
So a couple of things, obviously the clarification that the bridge provided, with the data was discussed. One of the things the working group wants to do is potentially talk to Andrew when we're further along to see how this will work with that and extract information. That was
Yeah.
his idea.
Great idea.
Yeah.
And so we'll probably ask for some of this time at that point. That was one. There was also interest in, I guess, we've been doing focus groups, right? So have focus group of younger, which the discussion was, do we go high school, middle school? I'm not a fan of going to middle school, but if we're gonna go down that path, maybe reach out to the kids and get their inputs. So those are two of the things that came up.
So do we think that during the chair's report, or do we want it on an agenda item during, it will be a regional meeting, so it will be not at the CPS meeting, so I think it's important to have all of us, present. So do we think agenda item or liaison report?
I think agenda item, if I look at the select board, as I said, since July, they have it as a separate, basically talking either anti-Semitism, bias and hate, incident reporting work group, or bias and hate. They have a separate agenda item every meeting. So I think it's something to consider, because I think over and above when the incident reporting work group has a meeting, we have our own reporting system and we have an idea of what's going on from that. That's fuel for the discussion, for the conversation. It can be augmented by that, but that's fuel for the discussion.
So I'm gonna commit to put that on as a discussion item, just as it is today. It's gonna be bias and hate incident working group. And we are gonna try and keep it to a little bit shorter, this is our first initial discussion, which I think is fair, and I said, you know what, we're not gonna, cut that short to 10 minutes, but we'll try and, get a little bit better in our discussion, and I think this was really helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so thank you, Detective.
Oh,
Thanks for being
you're
with
welcome.
us.
No problem.
We know where to find you. Just kidding. Sorry.
He probably was gonna find us too, so be careful
You
with
can
that.
feel free to go now. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, do
Should I go?
you think so? Okay.
Ron-
All right.
Ron's here.
All right, thank you so much. All right, so we're gonna move on and switch gears a little bit. Angel Charles has been super patient waiting for us in the back. Thank you so much. She has some students with her. So we are gonna have a special education update. The committee has had the slides, so we're happy to hear from you.
Gonna
Welcome.
reverse order. She was gonna chat with you first, but the
Yeah.
kids have been waiting, so
Yes,
we're anxious to get them in
totally.
front of you.
That makes sense.
So
Glad to
I'll
see
let Angel
you.
take it from there.
Thank you so much for having us. So on March 28th, we will be celebrating the 1 year anniversary of the grand opening of our storefront, Concord Possibilities. So again, I wanna thank you for your support of that initiative. And I've invited some students here. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Aiden Hitchcock, and I'm 18 years old, and I'm in the launch program.
Excellent.
Greetings.
I'm Marina and I'm a junior at CCHS.
And I'm Radka Graan, I'm the launch teacher and Concord Possibilities store manager, everything else basically.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So would you like to tell us a little bit about your time in the store, what you're enjoying, what you're learning, what you're making?
You can show them even too, right?
So we've been making these hats and all these merchandise.
Hold it up, Aiden, so we can take a picture.
Amazing.
But down a little so I can see your face to go with it.
Perfect.
Yeah, there you go.
And it just, we brought it so like, you know, you can see what the kids actually can do.
Yeah.
We want to brag a little bit about ourselves, but it's really about what the kids can do.
You really should brag about yourselves.
Yes.
This is really
You
awesome.
should.
Yeah, I think that's what the plan is, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
And do you want to talk a little bit more, what is your job, what are you doing when we making these things?
Yes. And my job at the store is to peel and to vacuum and stuff. And sometimes I would take out the trash while I'm there. And we usually go out sometimes to work at Goodnow Library and Drumlin sometimes. But we don't do that anymore because it's cold, but we'll end up doing it again in the springtime.
Perfect.
And on Thursdays, we go to the Discovery Museum to work there as well.
Did you say one of your jobs was to peel?
Yes.
Can you talk about that?
So I usually peel the logos for like the Thoreau and Alcott and stuff, and for the high school and Concord Middle.
So I know I'm a little bit of a crafter myself and I like to use the heat press. I don't know if you guys know that about me. So do you peel the after the heat press, you do the peel? That's
Yes.
great.
And Aiden, what else do you peel? What do we do first before you peel it? We print it.
Print it.
Right? And then you peel it, and then what happens? When you peel the stuff, you put it.
Put it on the shirt.
Right. So this was made by the Cricket, and you see the Metco and the Toro seniors. That was done by the DTF printer that we were very lucky to get.
Thoreau fifth grade shirts?
That's really cute. Okay, where's Aisha? Aisha loves, we have to wait for her in the
Oh,
DTF.
okay.
I know. So do you have a DTF printer in the store?
Yes, we do. It's a game changer.
It totally is. It
It's-
totally
It
is.
really is.
Really jealous of
So yeah. And so Aiden, he's the front runner, basically. He's in the store and really works there, like he comes every single day. And then Marinka here, she can tell you more about what her job is as a CCHS student.
I go to the store usually whenever I have a free block at school, and I go there. It's really like the most important thing is to connect with the students, and sometimes I also help like make the shirts and that. And I've gone there a few times to do some community service with a couple of my friends, and it's just a good opportunity to see and connect with other students that we wouldn't usually be able to like communicate with during school. And it's good to like have more experiences and learn about how to run a store and all the things that go into that.
And can you talk a little bit more about maybe the posters or newsletters new students making to?
I'm making newsletters like every month for the launch program to like highlight what they're doing in the store and their other activities to just summarize what they're doing and how the students are involved in it.
And where are those newsletters? Like, could we see any of them? Like, are they available or?
Well, that's
it-
my
is it
job. I
available?
usually send them to my families and everybody,
Oh,
but I
okay.
guess I could do better job to send it like to whole everybody else.
No, like,
Because it's really
Just
just
include me and I can
yeah,
push it out.
yeah,
that's
yeah,
great.
just send it to her.
Yeah, and so I just wanted to point out that, and Aiden can talk a little bit more about customers too, that we very fortunate, we work with PTGs from all elementary schools. We started working with PTA from the high school, which now we going to sell the prom dresses, and we very lucky that we can stay a little bit open a little bit longer, because what customers say, and Aiden can confirm, our main issue is that we need to be more community friendly, and it's really just about the our store hours. So, and we have some creative ways how to do it, but so that was the main complaint of like our customers, like, hey, I really would like to stop by. But it's really shows that we are making big difference, because again, we have students who you might not even think that they could be able lots of things, but they became 100% independent in what they are doing. And also we have really community members who just come to us and just thank us, which again shows that we doing something that really is meaningful and very important for the students. And I want just to say, because Aiden is here, like Aiden is our star, because he showed up for every single back to school night.
He sure did.
I
I
saw
saw
him and really helped us with all this stuff. So I have to thank him and his parents for allowing it. Do you want to
It's
say
just
something?
amazing what's happened in such a very
Less than a
short
year,
amount of time.
I know, it's
Yeah.
crazy,
So
but wonderful.
It's
what are
really
the hours
wonderful.
now?
9 to 2, 9 to 2.
And for anyone that's out there listening or watching our movie, they are located right, our movie, our film, they're located right in front of Crosby's. There's a red building, it's the Campbell Building, and you will see Concord Possibilities there.
So if you go to Starbucks, just and we are right there, okay? So please come. Please come and see us, and yeah, I'm sure that we will work with everybody here and to make the hours better for people who are
That's
at
a little
work.
pitch for me and you to come up with some funds for later management in the store, so.
But yeah, it's just like people really want us. People
Yeah.
really do, and so that's like what we really working for,
Yeah.
and it's just amazing. What do you think, Aiden? Do you think it? Yeah, you
Yeah.
like it, right?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, we know you do.
Really great.
You're so good at it.
You're doing really good work.
Yes, you
Thank
are.
you.
I went to the store in October and I bought so much stuff, including this awesome shirt. And it was so fun, and everybody in the store helped me find all the things that I needed. I got my daughter an Alcott hoodie, and I bought like 3 different Concord shirts, and there was so much stuff there. It's so amazing. So thank you guys so much. I love the work you're doing.
Our pleasure. And we can custom make anything.
They
Okay?
can,
I wish
they
anything-
custom
they
make
can.
everything.
Send us
They
a
make it all by
picture.
hand.
We really can make really anything you think of.
We had a club here earlier tonight that might be willing to help you with
Right.
marketing.
Oh, yeah.
Synergy, I love it.
I love
Yes.
that. Is there an Instagram for Concord Possibilities?
We do have Instagram.
Okay,
Yes.
I
We
will
do
look
have
following it. I need to follow that.
Yes.
Okay.
And Madame Pinto, who was actually with the DECA Club, is our very big supporter, which reminds me too, I have to jump to like the Japanese visit that was here.
Yes.
We are now very famous in Japan. I also became a member of the CNN network, so I'm like in touch with like people from Japan, and they actually sent me a slideshow that they presented to all schools about our stores and about our store and our students, and so it's just really amazing that they know about us, and also Japanese emperor actually knows about this place. So No pressure.
So find the money to extend the hours.
Just saying.
Sell tomorrow morning. The Japanese emperor can come visit.
I hear you, I got it. Yeah, and like actually some members of the CNN network, the Concord network got actually rewards from like the emperor, so it's, yeah, it's really, really great.
Radka, really, thank you. I think
Thank you.
this has all been you. I mean, we got the door open, but the rest has been you and the kids, so we're
It
just really
exceeded all of our
grateful.
expectations for what we could accomplish
I
in less than
couldn't
a
have done
year,
it without
so
your support, so thank you all for really allowing us to just have fun, as we do, right? Yes, yes.
Really great. Thank you so
Thank you
much
very
for
much.
coming. Thank you. Great job.
So we'll let them pack up and Angel
Yeah.
can stay and chat with you for a few
Great.
minutes.
Great, thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're gonna need like a school committee swag or something.
No,
Neat
I'm
shirts.
gonna think
Get
about
us a
that.
design,
You
we'll
should,
make
they
it.
have a
Design,
design.
You need the mugs and,
Yeah.
sweatshirts and
Water
shawls.
bottles. I saw this. I love this.
Do you do any design work?
Yes,
No.
yeah.
Is it a sticker
We
fee?
do. We do design lots of
Just
them.
okay. You
Yes,
give us
they're in my
ideas,
house.
you give us idea what you kind of looking for and we design it and we give you examples and
Okay,
we go from there, yeah.
all right, thank you.
See it, you're all
I
here
can
in
see
your.
it, oh yeah. We
might
might
have
have
a new
swag,
uniform.
we could, or we could
Match.
have like Yetis, we could do it all.
I don't even know
Yeah,
what this
I don't even know what it is, yes, see, look at that.
I don't know how to follow up.
Yeah, I don't know how
I
to
know,
follow
that's
it
a
either,
tough
but it said a lot without you saying much, so.
Thank
Thank you so
very
much,
much.
thank you, Aiden.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Nice job.
you.
Good night.
Great job.
Yeah.
Tough act to follow, Angel.
I love it. That's what he said.
Unbelievable. All right, so you're not gonna show the
They've
slides,
seen
right?
your
We've seen
slides,
it.
so
Okay.
we're happy
I'm
to
just
just
gonna chat, okay.
chat, yeah.
So first and foremost, when you looked at the members of my team on that first slide, you'll notice that there were 2 new positions, which I would like to thank you for. It has been an absolute game changer having specific assigned elementary special education administrators at each building. Not only just to, be more of a presence and more supportive and available for the families, the students, the programs, just to have that expertise on site has been a complete game changer. It's also helped us to have broader conversations across the schools and how we can sort of set up efficiencies, systems, more efficiencies, more consistency. And it's also provided one point of contact at each building who's not the principal to help with the transitions from one level to the next. So we're already feel like the work that we're doing now is things that we typically wouldn't have gotten to until April. So it's been fantastic. So thank you again for that. It's been wonderful. I think it's always interesting to look at our sort of head counts by school just to see sort of, where our numbers are per building, in district, out of district. We're holding steady across the buildings, no major surprises. But our number of out-of-district students at CPS has gone down and is gonna continue to go down to unexpected rates of being low, I guess, it's the only way to say it. I also think it's interesting to look at the number of students whose primary disability is under each category because we have to qualify under an educational category. Consistently, specific learning disability has been our most identified number for students, and that has continued. But across the board, we're again holding steady. When you look at the disability categories by number, that also includes students who are in out-of-district placement. So if you look at the head counts by school and you compare it to these numbers, there's going to be a discrepancy because the out-of-district students are included in this as well, because as a district, we still service them. We're continuing to work with outside consultants and experts and getting great feedback on that, which is going to tie into professional development to support our in-district programs. Again, some of the work that we've been really focused on this year is making sure that, within the realm of special education, there are so many different areas of expertise and nuance. So trying to identify professional development opportunities that's not one size fits all has been a goal and focus this year. So a few highlights, we have brought in an outside psychologist who specializes in a test called the ADOS-2, which allows school psychologists to make educational diagnoses of autism spectrum disorder. So we've gotten our school psychologist shored up on that. We're also working with a consultant from Case Collaborative who's doing a series on augmentative and alternative communication devices with our speech and language pathologists. Super excited that we're bringing the Haggerty decodable text down to the preschool level this year, so they're loving that work. We have 16 special educators at the elementary school level who are being trained in the EL expeditionary learning curriculum, and that's fantastic. The one other piece I want to highlight is, for years, something that we've, I think, wanted and needed, and I've definitely wanted to do, is to overhaul our processes, procedures, and documents related to the 504 process. So I'm super excited. There's a link to that I put at the bottom for the resources. You can take a look at our updated procedures. We also have, I've linked the district curriculum accommodation policy on there, along with our updated website that has contact information for all of the administrators and folks on my team, along with a link to descriptions of each of the district-wide programs. So we're busy, but it's good work, and it's nice to take the opportunity to catch our breath and reflect on. So it's every time that I come to these meetings, I have to go back and think about, what are all the things that we've been doing. So it's nice to have things all in one place and to be able to share with all of you the work that we're doing. Thank you.
Great. Any questions for Angel from the committee?
I'll ask a question on the disability categories you have. Are there any on here that we could support with the, I guess, staffing and abilities that you have?
That is a question I never would have expected to be asked. So I would say,
Can you repeat the question? Sorry, I couldn't hear you, Sandeep.
Are there any of the categories that they can support which are not currently
supported. So I would say not, if you asked me that maybe a year ago, I would have had a different answer. We have found it, I think, a deficit area with trying to find teachers of the visually impaired, so TVIs, so we were very fortunate and lucky to have found someone that we were able to bring on full-time, who is a teacher of the visually impaired and an orientation and mobility specialist, which is like just
amazing,
a rare gem. So I would have said that, we were using consultants, that we were bringing outside providers to help with that category, but we are one of the rare school districts who, other districts are saying, does she have any time? Do you want to partner with us? And I'm like, no, we're full. So that I would say no, which is, I wouldn't have been able to say that a year ago. So thank you for asking.
And you're the out of district costs, so that's usually, we talk a lot about that. So for the high school, you will see, like, as you're building these programs, K through 8, then those numbers will start to also decrease.
Yes. I would also say that, one of the factors when we were thinking about the store was that we have students tuitioning in. So that also helps to sort of offset, some of the work that we're doing to build and develop the program. So it's just been wonderful. So.
The store is just such an opportunity for our kids and a resource,
Great
and
spot.
yeah, it really is. And I think it's just, programmatically, it's what we should be doing, and it's great that we can tuition other kids too, because you do need a cohort to build something like that.
You absolutely need a cohort. So, and that's something I think historically we've struggled with, but not anymore.
Yeah,
so
it's really great work.
We're very proud. So thank you. We wouldn't have been able to do it without all of your backing and support.
Question. Where I feel like you've been at like the forefront of like where districts should be with special education. It's true, look at these numbers, they're really good. So I'm just curious where you're headed, like what are your goals?
What's next?
Yeah, what are your goals?
She is a leader.
I would say I think the more cohesive and coherent we are across our buildings and across the district, the better position that we are. So the work that I'm focusing on right now is making sure that the work that's happening in all of the programs at all the various levels, that they're talking to each other and that they're using a common language and that they're using common practices so that the transitions are more seamless, which will strengthen all of them. That's the big one right now, which I think having the folks in the positions to be able to be the point person to each building, there's someone on a daily basis who can ensure sort of compliance with whatever it is that we decide are best practices and efficiencies and common messaging. Whereas I was spending a lot of time, and the one person who was doing the role before, going school to school, like it felt like it was like a campaign, like this is what we're doing. Now it's without, any of us having to do it sporadically, it's on a daily basis. So I would say that. I would also say that we also need to, I always say like it's wonderful, but I also want to make sure like that from a parent, that parents understand that we have wonderful, strong in-district programs, but we cannot meet everyone's needs in district. And that would be abnormal if we were able to do that. So while we celebrate the work that we're doing in the programs, and it's had a really positive impact, I want to make sure people understand that we also know that we cannot meet the needs of every child and every student, and that's a good thing.
Great. Anyone else?
Is there anything we can do to help?
The support that you've already given me is unprecedented, honestly, and just the fact that you even asked, like, what? No, keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate all of you, and I appreciate just the support of the community, the commitment to. This is talk about DEIB. We're talking about like inclusive practices and belonging. And I think that this is a testament. The work that we're doing is really a testament to those values. So thank you.
Can I just ask one more thing? The student that came that was at the high school, is that an option or a volunteer? Do you have to sign up if you're someone that wants?
It's a volunteer. Yep.
Yeah.
So if you need hours, high school kids, if you need hours and you're
You can
available,
do your community service
do your
hours.
community
Yeah.
service.
Yeah. That's great. Really great.
And
Well,
later
gonna
in
be
the
in touch.
spring, one of the recognitions will be the unified bowling team.
Yeah.
Brand new.
Excellent.
So that's coming.
Great. Well, thank you so much. As always, your updates are really informative. I love that you brought students again because it really showcases what we're doing in district.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Alright, so when I put like times on the agenda, when I said 10 minutes can really be 5 minutes. I just feel guilty about putting 5, because then it feels like I'm not giving things the right appropriate amount of time. Brian actually helped me with the minutes on this one, so instead of 5, we might have said 10, but we're gonna try and move a little bit quicker. Lori's update, superintendent's midterm update is next. As you know, Lori has committed to 4 updates for the year. So we're gonna see updates again in April and in June. And I'm just gonna remind the school committee that every week we do see Lori's evidence and updates in her weekly update to us, which she does according to each strand of her goals. So I'm gonna ask you, Lori, to move very quickly, if you don't mind.
I feel like I can, because you've heard a lot of, you're getting the outcomes of like the levers I might push from the people actually doing it. So I was only gonna highlight, I played with AI. You saw I dropped all those reports I sent. It was really fun, actually. Isn't it cool? I know. Wow. Anyway.
Is it Claude?
What?
Is it Claude?
No, this was ChatGPT. No, I was in Notebook LM. Sorry, Notebook LM. I dropped them all in there. There's a video version too, if you really wanna see that, but it's stunning what it can do. Just a couple highlights I thought were worth noting, and I know data's been an ask, so it was interesting how much it popped up, the data that I've been sharing along the way. Professional development, just, I don't know if it aligns perfectly to a goal, but, and Shelley can chime in, we're just really feeling like we're finally, after years of trying different things, starting to really sync up with the right providers, with the right topics, with what the staff needs. And the exit surveys we continue to get on multiple topics are really strong this year. So I think that feels satisfying and is giving us direction to know what to keep doing, right? You just talked about reflecting. Well, when the data is positive, you know you're getting a stride going. So I just wanted to highlight that. And then the only other thing, because I'm gonna talk sustainability in a minute, and just academically, since this meeting has so many other topics to it, we obviously have talked about the literacy program. We're gonna bring the Concord committee an update on that later in the spring. Shelley will do that. You can see there's been some nice satisfaction there with the support they've been getting from the vendors and consultants. You heard from the students. I mean, I can't do better than that. You heard from the students, some of the shifts at the high school, even just in the course programs that we're offering this coming year. New electives, new APs. We are working on some restructuring of math a bit to modify levels, not D-level, but modify levels. There's just been some really nice academic momentum in different places. So those were the two things I wanted to highlight. I think I did do the chart at the end and did move pretty much all to green, and just that they're all moving along. The one I left in yellow, and I'm just gonna totally align this to budget, aligning the intervention process without the math specialist being in the budget, which I know I told you, like, that's just still a question mark. So it's not for lack of thinking about it that it's yellow, it's just, I don't have a plan. So. All right.
Any questions? No, okay. All right, thanks Lori.
Thank
And so
you.
we will see your goals update again in April and then finally in June. All right, so on to our school committee goals update, and Brian,
Do you want me to?
that would be great
Pull
if
them
you
up
could
and-
share that and track it for us, and
Yes, will do.
You should do something like that too.
I know we're gonna do something very quick and brief. And I want you to just notice, you probably can't see it, but there's a poster over there with all of our updates on it that was also designed. I might
The goals.
print our goals, sorry. I might print that and put it in front of all your seats for next time, just to really continue to focus us on what our goals are that we're looking for.
Possibilities laminated.
I big laminated, yes, exactly.
That's
I'm
for sure,
definitely gonna
yeah.
have possibilities. Okay.
All right.
There's your t-shirt.
So I
Yeah.
I think for this one, we don't necessarily have to talk through every single objective under each goal, but more, are there things that people feel are off track, that we should spend some time on those? So I don't want to read this, everybody can see it on the screen, but the first one is the budget. We have a few objectives. Is there anything that people have concerns about when it comes to the budget initiatives being off track?
No, I agree, we're on track, budget. Anyone else think off track? No, alright.
Alright. Here, when it comes to communication and engagement, we did have some, it's these three. We were off track, we felt, on a couple of them back in November.
I do feel like we're much further along on this, on the district-wide communication. I mean, I'm looking at Story of the Schools, that's been pushed out to everyone. The district bulletin goes out every week. We've had some stories in the news, you know, I'm thinking about financial literacy, we had that class that was on the news. We have some more news pieces come out, and I just also wanna say again, we do have a blog on our website that everybody should check it out. It's really extensive, so I feel as though in terms of that, we are on track for February.
Anybody disagree? Have any thoughts? Otherwise, I'm gonna just move that one back to on track.
I'd also say, you know, if we're just going through this, like I think the two-way communication with podcasts, town hall listening sessions. I will say that Andrew Niamici's his six-part series, four-part series, I'm gonna get the numbers wrong. Five-part series, all right, great, it was right in the middle, I should have averaged it and said five. Thank you, Andrew. Andrew was listening earlier, but I think that is a really big step and a way to really promote more of that community education. Carlos Hoyt is coming Thursday?
Tomorrow, yeah.
Tomorrow, is it tomorrow?
Yep,
What
tomorrow.
time is it at? Do you remember?
6, I believe.
Yeah, we don't know off the top of our heads.
Okay, it's, well, I think it's really hard to promote two-way, like in a business meeting, but in an event like that, like I know at the last event, I wasn't able to go, but I know Mark had talked to someone about the BSU table, and you know, the students were at different
Yeah.
tables, so that is two-way communication with the community, so I don't know, that's my feeling on
I
it.
still think we're off though.
Off, the
Yeah.
podcast situation we have not done.
Not just podcast.
Just going out
Yeah, I
and
was gonna say, we all individually,
Yeah,
I think, do the two-way, but I don't know if it's the same as a school committee doing two-way, right?
so how do we get on track? Maybe we should talk about that, how are we gonna get on track with the school committee doing, and maybe it is as simple as we're all gonna have to be part of a podcast.
or Club Prayer Cafe, or the two of us. Cause all of
Yeah,
us can't do
yeah.
it, but two of us, anytime, various different locales around town. It's published in the Bridge.
Yep.
And in all the PTG and the school literature, and show up, whether it's 1 or 7. You set a date and show up. And ground rules, you cannot, we listen, we talk, we can't promise anything, there's no new
Yeah.
business, but it comes back to the body to be ruminated on.
And I,
What, have we done we haven't done any
so-
coffees this year?
and I will say we made a conscious decision not to do coffees at one, at one point, there was just a lot happening.
Yeah.
And so I think from a safety perspective, we made a conscious decision not to move forward with that, but maybe we're at a point now that we should relook at a Concord, Carlisle and Boston, you know.
I think the coffees are good, cause I think it, I think when you cancel them because things are going on, I think when things are going on, it's even more of a reason to
Yep.
have a coffee, to have a
Agreed.
conversation. So I think it kind of looks like you're hiding or
Yep.
There's lack of transparency, so I think always having coffees and sticking to that,
Yeah.
whether regardless of what's going on,
Yeah.
is a good thing.
Can we work with sorry, this is not
Yeah.
coffee, so I'll
Okay.
let the coffee conversation get done and
Alright, so maybe let's start with coffee first. So maybe we commit to, you know, before the next time we look at our goals, a Concord, a Carlisle, and a Boston. 2 members have to be present. And I will ask for volunteers of who would like to coordinate each one, and then we'll have homework.
I'm gonna throw up a virtual coffee too.
Coffee?
No, a virtual coffee.
Oh, that's a good
Virtual
idea.
coffee, okay.
That's a
How
really
about
good
if you
idea.
coordinate a virtual coffee, alright? Carlisle, who wants it?
I can do it.
Okay, Lynette.
Looking at
Where that's happening.
Well, it can happen in Concord.
Everyone can come to my house and that's where. Oh my god, that's right. I know.
Nothing.
No more ferns.
Ferns.
Yes.
Ferns
The
are
one
farm
place
market.
to
And they
go.
like keep.
Kimball's will be open middle of
That's
April.
really Yeah,
Yeah, maybe
Okay.
wait for ice cream.
Alright, so maybe wait for ice cream.
Community ice cream might get more people
Oh,
out,
ice cream.
especially after this winter.
Okay.
Kim
So
was-
I'm gonna put you in charge, so maybe we'll just check in at our March meeting, I'm gonna write that down, I'm gonna do a coffee check-in, alright, Concord,
I can do Concord.
you wanna, communicate a
Have to be
Concord coffee?
before April.
Before April, alright, Carrie. Before April, you can
That's
pass it
doable.
on, alright. Alright, Aisha and Michelle, you can flip for Boston,
We can work together to do it.
There you go.
great, alright. So by our next meeting, I'm gonna do a little check-in and let's see if we can get them scheduled by, our next regional meeting is in March. So by March, cause we have vacation there, so we can't do it in February. So just give us a date, great,
Alright,
Alright, sorry, so
we're
not-
gonna get
yeah,
on
you had one
track,
more
oh yeah,
thing.
Yeah, the
so-
non-coffee one, can we work with the radio
Minute.
club at the high school to
Oh, the
just-
radio station?
Yeah, just
Sure.
maybe interview, I guess, one school committee or something
Yeah,
or whatever and keep it going.
Yeah, they have a radio show,
Minuteman Media.
yeah, you can do Minuteman Media and the high school radio station, we could actually be
I
on a
kinda love
radio
that.
show.
You could be on a radio show.
We could be on a radio show.
You wanna go with
that?
And we can answer the questions that are relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alright, we'll work on that.
we work on that?
Yeah, I
Alright.
can help with that.
anybody have anything else with the two-way communication?
Say that again.
Two-way communication.
Anything else?
What was the question?
Just anything else on this topic before I go on to the next goal? We good? Alright. So policy oversight, we did have a couple that were off track.
I actually wanna make a suggestion on that. I was not here at the end of the September meeting, but I'm still confused by launching a transparent, publicly accessible policy update tracker on the district website. That seems very wordy. My goal, that's in the bottom one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the goal of this year, and we are gonna start tonight with some policies that we have to update, would be to go through all the MASC policies like this spring. I don't really know what the thought was on the publicly available policy tracker. If anyone can explain what that's supposed to be, I'm happy to help make it happen, but
I think in November we talked about going back to
Mm.
listening to the
Yeah.
recording. I'm
Did
not sure
anyone
that
watch the recording?
anybody did.
Sure didn't, okay.
We didn't do our homework.
We did not do our homework, but I guess the question I would almost ask more is if nobody can
I don't think
relate to
it's
it
that
now,
important,
do we change this or just focus on two things?
Also, there is we have a website where all of our policies are.
They sit.
And there's
So I think-
thousands of them.
So I think
And
my
and
mind-
maybe two people in this room went through the entire manual 2 summers ago.
what's probably important is to try and find out what changed, right? So I think it's just the policy update tracker, so and so policy change, so.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make a document before our next meeting with all of the policies that we're gonna update by the end of the year, and we're gonna track it on there, and if we have to put it on our website, we will put it on our website. So it'll be like a checklist, how about that? Does that sound like what you guys were thinking? Yep, okay, I'm gonna make a document.
Putting it in here.
I'm gonna make a document.
So
It's
it's
gonna
all
be our
policies-
policy tracker document.
Of all policies to review
Of
this
all
year?
policies that we're gonna review before the end of the year, yeah. Policy, called policy tracker document, I'm just kidding. Oh, okay,
Okay,
And then we're gonna launch it.
and we're gonna launch it,
So
so
are
we're
we
gonna put it
still-
on the website.
are we still off track, I would say?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I actually think that I think we're on track, cause we are doing some policy work tonight, so I'm gonna go with on track for.
I was thinking that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, does everybody else?
Yep,
agree?
I think that sounds right.
And the first one,
I think
We have
if-
not done that. Oh, wait.
Yeah, if we haven't even identified what they are by now, we're probably off track for spring.
what do we need to do to get it back on track?
I think identifying. Just looking through
I
our
mean,
policies and
maybe
finding
if-
which
sorry.
ones, just looking through them, seeing which ones we need to identify, or which ones we need to update. It's getting late.
Yep.
Um,
How do we check in with Alicia, our MASC rep on, you can put that on my list of things to do, check in with Alicia on, cause she really is a policy queen, she really enjoys policy work. And so maybe we check in with her on that.
I thought what we do is assign everything to Andrew since he's not here.
Oh, that's a good idea, maybe
Perfect.
Andrew can do that.
And you'll take that one?
Yeah, I'll take it, yep,
Great.
great, okay. Oh, I thought we were done.
No, we just have last one, superintendent evaluation and student outcome goal.
I think we're on track, cause we just reviewed it.
Stay on track.
Everybody good?
Yep, I think they're both on track because we don't have any more student achievement data to review right now.
We just talked
February.
about special education,
Oh, we did,
so
yeah.
I feel like we are.
Anyone disagree with that? We good? Okay. That's it, right? Okay, great. All right, thank you. Sustainability updates. Everyone had the slideshow that Lori provided, and so I'm gonna turn it to Lori to give us an update.
I hope you took time to look at all the amazing things going on in the schools. Here, I think I'm gonna just focus on highlights of the district-wide work, because there's some really great momentum going. The green team at the high school today worked on the electric charging station grant to put in some EV charging at the high school, so we're getting ready to submit that maybe by the end of the week, hopefully. 5-ish, give or take, spots hopefully available for charging, and the donation will add to that. Bob Bob's been able to facilitate the support of the Massachusetts CEC grant to install bidirectional electric bus chargers. That was, we were awarded that months ago, so, and now that's playing out and implementing, so we'll have some higher speed and further option there. We are in ongoing discussion with Highland Electric Bus, which Bob's taken the lead on, and they are a vendor that provides financial and infrastructure options to districts. I think they're getting creative with us because we're way far ahead, and we're trying to sustain and grow versus districts just trying to get started. Actually, I think they're enjoying us because we know what we're talking about. They're not teaching us,
Yeah.
we're actually highly engaged with them. It looks like there's a possibility, they have grant funding through the federal grants that another district was set to take and then has declined, and they may be able to repurpose it to us.
Wow.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
So we're in pretty active discussions with them about.
Did they get the grant? Did Highland get the grant?
Highland facilitated the grant,
Okay.
but it was designated to a certain community who has had to step back. A lot of communities are finding the startup of this really overwhelming, which we're now 10 years in, so that isn't overwhelming to us. So we're in pretty active discussions about the possibility of 5 buses. There's a fiscal model Bob will share with you to make sure you're comfortable once we're stable on how it would all come together. Essentially, payments get made over an extended period of time to stabilize the huge upfront costs, which the grant will pretty substantially reduce. But it seems like we might have an option that we've been really, really trying to find.
And these would be just our bus fleet, because I recall if there was some conversation about sharing or collaborating with other municipalities.
Yeah, that didn't really pan out, so this would be our fleet, yeah. So we're excited that there seems to be an option potentially really growing.
And how soon would that be for?
So
Do you
there's
know?
there's 2 grants, so there's the Mass CEC grant,
Yeah.
which has to happen first, and I don't want them bumping into each other at the same time doing things. So one of the things we have to do is coordinate a meeting with Highland and the group that's managing they have a project management company managing the Mass CEC grant, which is to put in a couple fast chargers. So the Highland thing would have to happen after that.
Right.
Probably late, like at the earliest it would be late summer, and then it would take some time to do.
Okay.
And we need to figure out a way to keep it so it doesn't interrupt our operations, so.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
it's promising mainly because they come with 5 buses that it's mostly, that's mostly financed through the federal grant.
Okay.
And they get better deals on the bus, not hugely better, but they buy in bigger bulk, so the vendors tend to work with them, so we're just excited that something might be happening. We've been really trying to come up with a way to.
For a while, yeah.
So it's also about sustaining. 2 of our buses are quite old now, the 2 out of the 3 electric ones, and like one of them's original electric version.
First generation.
Very first generation. Bleeding edge of the technology, so anyway, more to come, but we're excited by that. We've been working very closely with CMLP on how to get the solar done at the middle school. That's a shared goal for certain. Bob's been working with them on RFP options. We also last week connected with them. There's another big CEC grant out there for bigger infrastructure changes. So I had thought we might consider one of the elementary schools, but through discussion with CMLP, makes a lot more sense to apply for that to offset some of the cost of the middle school solar. So we're gonna leave that at that for the moment. We're working some of you at the Concord level, remember there's a Bruce Freeman rail trail connection need to the middle school property. That's become its own committee. So now we're collaborating with them while they try to get that plan moving. I've written some letters of support for grants and some other things they're working on. They'll stay in touch with the Concord School Committee as they go. And then maybe, that's all amazing stuff, but the change of structure is actually, Priscilla Guiney was an amazing coordinator and started to show us what someone designated to the sustainability role could do. She decided to really retire. So we're dividing it up, and so far we only have 1 of the 5 in place, but we're going to building-based people. And just to hear that targeted focused area being reported out on last week, this was from our sustainability meeting last week, it's clearly going to matter. So I'm still finishing up with the CTA to get that wrapped up to work on appointing those people at the elementary schools. The other thing I'll note, the PTGs almost all have now green coordinators. So I think that parent support is mattering a lot to us too. Sometimes we just need hands to make things happen. Composting is really stable now because of that. The gardens, all the schools are really thriving because of all of that. There's just a lot of collective great energy. It was a great meeting last week. A lot of community members who have attended in the past were there. We've got 2 more meetings set for the rest of the year. I think actually I'm here. March 25th and May 27th, and it's just a nice place to touch base and share out. So wanted to just do those highlights in public because there's some great things happening and make sure everyone knows.
Right.
Yeah. Of course.
So just, I know that we've talked about partnering with the town and that's something we all wanted to work on. I did want to point out that School Works grant, I did meet with Jason Balger, the general manager of CMLP, Megan Zumuto, the deputy town manager. We looked at a project for Alcott, which is based on a feasibility study, not a design. And the solar panels at the middle school, which we all know is a priority. And we selected the middle school for 3 reasons. 1, it's a bigger project, it could get more funding. 2, it has a design, it's basically fully designed and we would have to get a design done first. And 3, the project at Alcott is not fully green. There's a component that's not green because you'd have to put a whole bunch of money into electrical infrastructure to upgrade it to support like all electric. And so it wouldn't get fully funded and it would be less attractive to the grant agency because it has a fossil fuel component in it. So we talked about those 3 things and we don't want to submit competing projects to the grant agency. So I just wanted to explain the rationale for why we prioritized the middle school solar panels.
One more question for you. For community members who are not parents, how can they best tap into helping with sustainability?
Sure, they're welcome to become part of this committee that meets a few times a year. It's about half community members and half staff and parents now. So this is an open invitation. They're happy to be part of these discussions. Yeah.
Great, all right, well, thank you for that. Any other questions before we close that out? No? Okay. All right, on to cell phone policy. All right, finally. Cell phone policy, I am gonna share. I've shared a lot of information with all of you. I know that we've had articles shared. This is our first discussion on this. As I kind of went down the cell phone policy road, I searched the MASC's policies. Brian actually sent me an article today about cell phones, and none of those towns have cell phone policies in the article.
Interesting.
They all have, so Brian sent me an article that was it on the MASC?
It was, this morning through MASC, so you probably all got it, but it's about an
paywalled.
app that some schools are using.
Yeah, and so they're using, so some schools are using, it's an app, right?
Yeah,
It's an app that kind of, and it blocks social media in schools. And so I, of course, go into the article, I'm like, oh, well, they must have a cell phone policy. None of the towns have cell phone policies that are using the app. So this has been an interesting process for me, so I'm just gonna share my screen for 1 second. Let me find, TimeNet is not really great on my eyes, so I hope I'm sharing the right screen. Well, let's find out, okay. All right, so this was in your packet, and I basically filtered through all of the MASC policies to see who has a policy and who doesn't. As a reminder, MASC does not have a model policy to use, and they are not developing one anytime soon. I brought it up in the chair's roundtable. No one there is also going into the cell phone policy, except for Meg from Belmont did reach out after. She's like, you know that chart that you showed us? She's like, can you share it? So I think, maybe sometimes people are talking about it. So
Did Mask have any particular reason why they weren't?
they're waiting for the state to do something. They don't want, so MASC does not want to touch AI policy or cell phone policy. It's just not something they're interested in doing right now. So we take that for what it's worth.
Alicia also say, because it's not so much a policy, like their view is that schools are putting it in their handbook.
In their handbooks, yes, yes, because schools have it in the handbook, so I guess I had maybe falsely made the assumption that because there is state legislation coming, that, oh, all schools must have cell phone policies. They actually don't. So when I went through the list of what MASC holds in their policies, I think there were 11 that are basically doing what we're doing right now, which is, it's the least restrictive that they can be, which is in between classes, lunch, at the high school level, you can use your phone. There are 7 districts, we are one included, that have bell to bell. Most of them, if they're bell to bell, some of them might be bell to bell K to 8, and then 9 through 12, it's away and out of sight. And sometimes there's no reference to if they can use them in between classes or not. So in the bell to bell category, you can see my list from there of who has bell to bell. So it brings us to a point of, we need to decide, 1, do we want a policy? And 2, do we want to write a policy? Do we want it to be reflective of what we're doing in our handbooks? And so then after that, I looked at we have a unified handbook for all the districts in the district. And our policy is in our handbook. So our Concord policy that we worked on last year is in the handbook. And then we have basically in the high school, it's what we're currently doing in the high school, which is using the caddies. And I think I shared the handbook language with all of you too. So I just wanted to start this discussion, see where people are at, see what we're thinking, which direction we're kind of leaning on going towards. So I guess the first question I'll just put out there to the committee is, do we feel as though we need a policy?
Yes.
Yes, because what does having something in the handbook mean if there's no policy?
So the majority of districts do not have any policy. Right.
But what does that mean? Does that mean if the what's in the handbook, folks decide they don't want to do, there's no logic or rationale or structure behind it to what enforces what's in the handbook if there's no policy? It's a question. That's a question.
Oh, it's a question?
Yeah,
Well, there are some things that are in the handbook that aren't necessarily policy matters. It's so we're like the overarching, here's our policy, but like when it goes to discipline is not in our policy. Discipline is in handbooks, right? So yes, we're responsible for it, but when you're the day-to-day and how you carry it out would then be in the handbook.
I don't think you're wrong. I think on this topic, it is stronger if there's a policy to support the
To
handbook,
support it,
which is
right.
why we were grateful when the.
So it sounds like we're all in agreement that we wanna put a policy together for the high school. Could I? What do you, I see Brian's like, I'm not sure. Go
I'm
ahead.
still, I guess I'm trying to understand what we're trying to solve, like, what is our goal as a school committee by having a policy in place? If it is to give the administration more authority in enforcing it, if, like, I'm hearing people say, yes, we want a policy, I'm not hearing the why.
Okay.
And that,
I think we probably all have different
Whys.
different
Yeah.
thoughts on what ought to be included in the policy, and that might be why.
right, so maybe it's why do people, I would want a policy if it helps
Enforce something.
enforce what is in the handbook. Now there's then the conversation of what's in the handbook, what we still want to have in the
Right.
handbook, but that's, I'm just trying to understand, again, because we're looking, MASC is not taking action on it, not many other districts are. So that's why I just wanna make sure we're clear on why we want to do
Why we're
this.
doing it.
I think not many districts maybe in Massachusetts, like, thank you for doing all that research, that's not easy, so that takes a lot of time. But I do think, like, if you look at trends across the country, there are a lot of districts that are implementing policies like the bell to bell or whatever. So I think we're all reading about it everywhere. There is a lot of conversation around cell phone use in schools. So I don't think it will be long before either the state forces our hand or school districts end up doing their own thing.
And that goes back to the question, is Mask not doing that so they don't do something that is out of line with state policy?
It could be that, or they could feel as though it's, and we should probably get more
Or
clarification.
it's a fait
Alicia.
accompli and it's coming, so just wait until it happens.
Right, it could be that.
In either case, I guess, help me understand a handbook entry, a handbook rule without any, I'm looking at policy as the structure behind what you write for operationalizing it in a handbook. Policy is the structure. If that's not there and you operationalize something with no oomph behind it, with no whys and wherefores behind it, it makes it harder for you to do that. Am I correct?
It can, yeah. Certainly the handbook has its own weight, you approve it, it's got some authority. And in certain cases, it has to be the authority, because
Yeah.
like you said, discipline doesn't fit in your policies other than to broadly say, we are going to have discipline under state, according to state law. I think in this case, it probably does back it up. I sit here just like, well, I like the districts to be mirrored to each other, and we have a policy at Concord, and to not have one at the high school just
feels weird.
Feels,
I
so,
don't see
yeah,
how
I
we
think you're
couldn't-
right.
I
I
don't
think
see
it
how we
does back
couldn't.
it up more.
Actually,
so that
that's like the
two
most
are
compelling.
aligned. Yeah,
It's like
is that the
why-
most compelling?
Yeah, like why wouldn't
Yeah.
you at the high school
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
do it CPS?
If we do it CPS, okay. So, does that help?
Yes.
Yes, that helps.
Symmetry
So we're all in
helps.
agreement that we want a policy. So now if we can talk about, if you can talk about school-wide, if you could talk about what it looks like in our handbook right now, and maybe any type of apps that are currently being used.
I'm gonna give you the very, very brief version, because I
Yeah.
think it's enough information.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we were one of the first in the state to use the caddies during class. We've really tightened that up, and things are pretty consistent, very consistent among teachers for their own benefit, that the caddy goes in when the kids go into the classroom, and then they take it when they leave. That is what's in the handbook. And in terms of apps, there's probably two significant ones that are infrastructure for us right now. One is the app they use to sign up for their flex blocks twice a week. They have to do that through the app prior to the flex block. And now we've tightened up the comings and goings of open campus. So this year they have to check out when they leave at the doors that are monitored, and the app is a piece of that. So the flex block's the big one, I think.
How would you, like, are there restrictions on like how far in advance you have to sign up for the flex?
Well, we try to get them to do it days ahead, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's minutes.
Sometimes it is minutes.
It is an
And
all-in
then-
app.
It is an app, yeah.
And then what do districts, like, what do you do if you're a kid without a phone? How do you sign up for a flex block?
I don't have the answer to that. Brian's listening. I'm gonna see if he's texting me. I don't have the answer to that. Yeah. I mean, other apps are the ones you know of, which we're using on the laptops too, Google and all that. They can get that on their phone. But the ones that, the FlexBlock one is pretty extensively phone. The one we're sitting on, and the police have asked if we wanted to we have a Crisis Go app that teachers at the high school all have on their phones and can voluntarily choose to participate, and we can crisis emergency message them very immediately, and they have a red button that they can do the same, which is what all the studies have shown in the mass shootings, is somebody could have hit the button earlier and it might have helped. The police would love to see us push that out to the kids so that they have that same option. So, those are the infrastructures. I do think Instagram is an informal, highly used messaging tool with the high school students. I've seen that play out in real time, because like on a day where there's an early release, the schedule gets posted there, and that is where the kids go to look and check it as they're trying to get around the building. So there are some, there are some positives. I hear all the negatives, but we've got some productivity going. So.
Or another question, on the MacBooks that are issued, is messaging and FaceTime all disabled?
We've disabled, iMessage is disabled, FaceTime is disabled. Yeah, we've turned off most of those daily interactive things with each other.
You could go on WhatsApp, where
Yeah, there's almost always a work.
There's definitely, you know, I think I'm the only one that has, no, you have a high schooler. Okay, great. I'm like, okay, wait, who's in the room? I do think that teachers can actually see every keystroke that kids are doing on those laptops. I mean, I went to a conference, teacher was like, well, I see that your daughter spent X amount of time doing this, and when she was in class, like, they literally can see, I don't know how they do it, but they can see.
Yeah, we have
on-
software, they opt into that, they're not all using it,
Yeah.
but if they opt into it, they can actually watch the kids' screens from
Yeah.
their screen.
And I will say, like, I've kind of like seen all of this, my kids are at varying ages. The caddies are a game changer. I mean, they do not have access to their phones during
No.
instructional time, they just do not. I don't think, I mean, I've been in the high school during the school day, not often, but I don't see kids like walking down the halls, like doing that, or in the lunchrooms on their phones all the time. You know, I don't, I think that I have concerns about going bell to bell, I'll just put my opinion out there, for off-campus, we do have off-campus. I think that at some point, we are raising adults here, right? And at some point, they're gonna have to manage a cell phone. Some of the issues that come with cell phones are the other 18 hours a day that the kids are not in school. It's not the 6 hours, they're not, you know, doom scrolling in the hallway. I don't see that's happening. I mean, we could get better feedback from teachers or from the principals or from students as to what's actually happening in the schools. You know, I do think what we're doing is definitely working at the high school. It's a huge shift in what it was, you know, even 5 years ago. So I don't know how other people feel about, you know, do we think we wanna go to a bell to bell or not a bell to bell? And, you know, it would be a shift going to a bell at the high school, certainly.
What do you hear concerns from the principals or from the teachers about with what's in the handbook?
Yeah.
Like, is there still concern about how students are using their cell phones while they're at CC during the day?
I mean, I've walked the building with Brian and Katie just to get a sense. We see so many different things going on. Occasionally, is there a group that's like on their phone? Usually it's some little group of boys playing some game or something. But that's not what we're seeing as the norm. Most kids are doing their homework, having lunch, talking to each other. I think we've seen some really interesting positives. Brian got totally engaged with some boys who were playing some game. They needed the phone for a reference to the game. It wasn't the game was on the phone, it was a tool in the game. Invited him to be part of it, and he was going over thinking he was gonna be told, you know, that they were just in their phones, and that wasn't the case. So there's a tool going on there too that seems to be it feels like a fairly healthy balance. I don't wanna overstate that it's healthy, but
Yeah.
doesn't feel like their heads are all in their phones individually and they're not interacting. We actually have seen kids on their own. We walk over and they've all put their phones in a pile like that and they're just having lunch. You know, sometimes there's some self-efficacy going on. My worry is the kids that use it for a tool that's really beneficial to them as an individual. The ELL student who's finally getting a break and listening to some show in their own language for the only half hour a day they can do that. We know of kids with anxiety that becomes the lifeline. Not that they are getting help at home, but they can if they need it. So like we've watched a student use it for the calculator on the phone while she did her math homework on the computer. So I think there's a balance. I really feel like that's part of our job is to help kids learn balance because nobody's taking the phone in college.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What concern are you perceiving from the community? Because since fall or even earlier, we've been contacted either in public comment or personally about bell-to-bell bans from our community. So where's that coming from? And everything that I've read in terms of promulgating any policy speaks to this body having a responsibility to be the front runner to the community on selling whatever we do. So what do we?
We agree with that completely, K-8, and have a bell-to-bell policy. I know there's different ways to implement that, and I think that's still what you're getting feedback on. High school, you know, I think I worry, my personal worry as the person responsible for operational is the how. Open campus is a really big challenge if we're gonna shut phones down. So I haven't been able to figure out a way past that, just as a logistical thing to state. And honestly, we spend more time dealing with issues of what goes on the phones after school and at home and on weekends than what they're doing in school. Like the incidents we talked about earlier, a good proportion of those are happening outside of school. Social media, phones, all of that. So I don't know if there's a perfect answer is what I've come to conclude.
And I think, you know, if you were to ask every single one of us, we all have different opinions on what we think is right. You know, I get a lot of information from students, you know, I get a lot of information from parents that have students at the high school, not so much from parents like the younger parents, you know, like I'm sure you're in the same situation, like you hear from high school parents and you know kind of the pulse of what the high school feels. I think a lot of it is younger parents, and maybe it's fear of the unknown of what high school is, but when you have a kid that has open campus and, you know, they are checking in and out of the building with their phones now, which is different. Like I want my kid to have their phone with them.
Brian's telling me all of it's available on their laptop, cause
Okay.
obviously we would make it accessible, but most of them.
But most of them using their phones, and you forget to sign up for a flex block, there it is, you know, there was a half day today, where's the schedule? The kids check the Instagram at the high school, that is what they do. And that's just, you know, my own anecdotal kind of opinion, I don't know if you
No,
have any.
I agree, I think from when I was, if you asked me when I was in seventh grade, I probably would have the same, you know, concerns about, you know, social media and things that he didn't need to see while he was in school, but now that he goes off campus, I think that from a safety standpoint, I would like for him to have a phone or just in case anything happens.
I think to your point, the how, that's what concerns me is if we were to ban bell to bell, is this just another burden we're putting on teachers where they're, you know, catching students using their phones, they then have to deal with that extra layer of discipline. I also think having a seventh grader who does not yet have a phone but has other devices, it's like we restrict her iPad while she goes to her watch. We take the watch away, suddenly the school iPad is filling this need. And so I do think what we're just gonna see is if we are banning it bell to bell, yes, they might not ban their personal devices, but there'll probably be activity happening more on their school issued devices. So I'm hesitant to bell.
There's value in making things a little harder.
I don't disagree with that. I also think there's we've heard from students who like participate in rivers where they take the phones all day and they're like actually just not having it available to me, that takes that stress off of me. And I think I've heard them say like, I don't even think I realized the weight of having access to the cell phone before I didn't have it at all.
What I've read suggests that from, I'm not speaking for it, but what I've read suggests that it's much easier from the educator's perspective for there to be a bell-to-bell policy, because it takes the adjudication off their hands. If students got it in the room, it's not supposed to be there, end of story, it's gone. And so bell-to-bell takes that out of the educator's hands. And from the educators that I canvassed, it's education sort of proctors that I talked to, that sort of proctor schools that they're working with that have instituted a bell-to-bell policy, they don't want to go back because it's made their environment much easier. Now, I don't know out of those programs which ones had open campuses or not. And that might be an additional confounding variable.
Yeah.
But I think from what I'm reading and what the medical articles I've looked at, from a functional perspective, the sense I was getting from what I've read that was that a bell-to-bell policy from the educator's perspective is easiest to manage. And that bell-to-bell policy, looking at the health benefits and wellness benefits, is the most positive. So I guess it's for our district, the mitigating factors and what our community tells us are that's what's in my calculus for making a determination.
Well, I think what Dr. Hunter said about, when they go to college, they're gonna have their cell phones, so teaching them now how to be responsible and hold themselves accountable. Like the students that came in to talk about how things they're learning now are gonna help them when they become an adult. I think that speaks volumes as it pertains to this.
But they will have their phones outside of school.
Yeah.
Right, so you are kind of giving them that training ground outside of school.
And I guess, good point, I'm leaving parental guidance to manage that while the parents are giving us the 8-hour stretch of the day to do what we think is most necessary to make a great academic environment.
So I think my ask, if you keep going towards bell to bell, in my tenure, I've done almost nothing that I just decide up over
Yeah.
here and
Yeah,
something mush
100%.
happens. I think there needs to be a process to gather feedback
Well,
from
And I think that
from the
we.
stakeholders at
yeah.
the high school.
So this has been on our, we've talked about this since December. It's been on our agenda and we haven't gotten much feedback. We just haven't. I would like to hear from, I'd like to hear from some students. I'd like to hear from teachers. I do think that the caddy system, and again, this is my own anecdotal opinion. The phones are in the caddies. They're not even on their person. When you go bell to bell, you're not going caddies anymore. They're on their person. So are they gonna be sneaking their phone when they're, in the bathroom or at their lunch? I don't know. They do not have their phones during instructional times. Like that is very clear. So in the classroom, they are 100% focused on the teacher. Yes, they have a school issued laptop that they don't always use. So what we're really talking about is the lunchtime or during, they don't even have any flex blocks. They, if they have if they're off campus, they can obviously have their phones. But, I think we're all gonna have different opinions on this based upon your experience.
We asked the PA to get us more feedback.
We can ask anything. I think, us having on our agenda is feedback.
Right, no, I'm saying
Oh.
the number of people that watch maybe the school committee meeting versus the CCHS PA asking the parents, you might get a different
we could do a
Like have a
survey, we could.
Yeah, why would, I think.
We could
Yeah,
have
you could,
the high school
I think it would
faculty
be
do a
great to have a
survey.
survey.
It's funny, cause I have a kid in Rivers and I don't know if she has her phone or not, she hasn't said one thing about it, nothing.
Right.
Like,
Right, no,
I don't know.
I'm basing it on what
I
they
think-
said when they were
In
here.
here, I have no
Yeah.
idea, she hasn't, I've heard all about Rivers, but I haven't heard one thing about,
I think the
Sounds
kids are
like
so
something
adaptable,
perfect to
they'll be
take to the
fine.
community.
Yeah.
Kids will be fine, we'll have more issues.
What?
Yeah, I think the kids will be fine if you check.
With getting rid of phones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds
They
like
adapt
something
it.
perfect to take to the community.
I disagree with that,
I
I don't
actually
think,
am
I
really-
disagree with
the
that, I
kids'
don't think
voices
that
have
the
to be heard
kids,
here, I
yeah,
think.
the
Yeah,
kids have
yeah.
to be heard, I don't think
Oh,
that
no,
they're
that's
gonna
not what
be-
he said.
What'd you
No,
say?
no,
Sorry.
He said they're gonna be fine.
The kids
They're
are adaptable,
adaptable.
Oh,
they'll be
yeah.
fine
Yeah,
with
yeah.
phones.
Yeah,
The
yeah, yeah,
adults
of
were
course, of
awkward.
course,
Oh,
of
yeah.
course.
Well,
Oh, yeah, I thought you
Or
said,
something to
I
ask.
thought you said, oh, the kids are gonna be fine, I'm like, I don't know if they're gonna be fine.
Ask the kids for sure.
Okay,
Yes.
Is there a two-part here where we could basically take the handbook language and make that the policy? So that there is a
It's there,
policy.
yeah.
We revise our policies all the time,
Yes,
but at least we have
Have
a
a policy.
policy to start.
well, it's funny that you were thinking that, because that's why I put the handbook language out there, and then I'm like, do we
I
put
don't- I
something
don't
out
love
there to
that,
have? You
Cause
don't love that?
I would rather do it well once. I would, because it's much easier to like actually do it and get the research we need, have the conversation and write a policy than it is to change something. It's much harder to change something.
Okay, so
So-
let's,
Unless we were all like, this is the way to do it, then great. But otherwise, we've made it this far without a policy.
alright, so let's kind of straw
That's
poll
my-
it.
that's
Can
my
we
opinion.
straw poll it, like, so you're suggesting
Do you
the
wanna put up the
policy that
language?
has the handbook, what?
Do you wanna put up the language?
Oh, yeah,
I have it up on the screen.
And to be
or
clear,
put up the one that's got both handbooks language in it, maybe, the one that's got the middle school one in it,
Hold on,
and the high school one,
I don't know if he's got that.
let me see if I have it.
this is what I had, because that's the handbook, right?
Yeah, I did that one before the meeting and put it in the drive. Yeah, you can put that one up, you can put that one up,
I found the other one.
yeah, okay.
While you're searching, I guess my synthesis of this right now is that we've read our homework.
Mhm.
But we haven't talked to some of the stakeholders, so we have the knowledge, we don't have the sentiment. And it's gonna be some synthesis of that.
Yeah.
That would go into us both writing a policy and making whatever our ultimate handbook entry is going to be. Part of the work might be, again, canvassing our community through either coffees or surveys or however we do it, and then coming back, so wouldn't suggest that whatever policy that we end on is something that we sort of sit here without that part. So talk to our community, read some more stuff, and we're gonna come back and be talking and whatever comes from that.
So, so Brian's got the language, so the elementary and middle school, just for people that are watching, that is our actual policy, which is just verbatim from our policy into the handbook. Now, what I could do with these other towns that on my other page is to see, cause a lot of them, it was the same language that they have in the handbook, they just did both of them. Some it was different, some was the same, but I could go back and look at other towns. So if you scroll up to the high school one, and everybody can just take a minute with that. And we also have to be cognizant that there are students that have it in a 504. You know, they're medical and other needs.
there will always be exceptions.
There will always be exceptions. And then, I mean, I worry a little bit about that because if somebody sees someone with a cell phone, it's like, oh, no one can have a cell phone, like the policing of it, it automatically outs why they have their cell phone. And
Fair point.
and I will say, you know, just as an aside, I might have been doing check-in at all night grad last year. And actually, they check their phones in, and this is not related to the schools at all, it's a totally separate organization. They check their phones in and someone came to me and they were like, well, I can have my cell phone. And he had to say like why he needed a cell phone, and I found that a little bit uncomfortable, right? Cause some kids might not wanna say why they need to have their cell phone. So, alright, so that's the language in our handbook. It sounds like we need some more information just in the spirit of time. Maybe we can think about some ways to do surveys with the kids, the community, the teachers.
I think if we're surveying, we probably should find out from the kids why they use it. We can come up with all sorts of reasons they might
Well, they definitely have things
They
you haven't thought of yet.
have. So that's
I mean, I
Good and bad,
wonder,
probably.
I wonder if we could have a mini discussion with our school committee reps here.
You could, I'm gonna
I
just
know.
keep advocating, this
For-
has gotta be so
It's gotta be,
inclusive
yeah, I agree.
because
So can
Yeah.
you draft a survey? Like how do, I feel like you would be the one
someone
to
can
do a
draft
survey,
yes.
yeah.
I'm not sure I'm gonna say I'll do it.
Yeah, no, but you,
I
like
think-
you being
Yeah.
the
we
school
can.
district.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do it at teacher, parent, this is our normal triangle,
Yeah.
right, teacher, parent,
Right. Yeah, and see the data that we have.
students.
Send this out to PTGs.
Yeah.
talk with
Yeah.
PTAs, you're meeting with them monthly?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a mechanism.
So we can get a tool draft.
That'd be great. Okay, so more to come on cell phones. You'll see this on our agenda again. So I'm gonna just check that off and we're gonna go, this is gonna be much easier and quicker, still very important. I'm gonna line this up. You guys have had the policies, the MASC recommended policy updates. All of these are regarding raffles in schools.
Yep.
It is very prescriptive language. Tonight will be our first read of these policies. I'm not gonna go through them because you've had them all week. You'll see the clean version where the changes are made, and on the track versions, that was the red line version of kind of, additions.
So the only question I have
Yeah.
is all of the redline versions have 2025 updates. Is that because that's when MASC?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do we have an understanding why why this?
I do, in the documentation they sent out. It's so prescriptive by law how you have to manage raffles, and it's very unknown. It feels very informal a lot of times to people who are volunteering or running different things. And I think what I read, which I've actually seen, is to really help everyone understand, like it's legislated. You can't just say you're gonna go run a raffle without a very legal process. So there's more awareness.
Okay,
Yeah.
Any other questions after our first read of policy? All right, so these will come back on in March with the full committee. And that will be at our Boston meeting. We'll vote on these 3 policies in March. And when I bring my policy tracker, I'll put the rest of the policies that we're gonna maybe do, and if we can do first reads of some of them in March, maybe we will. That sound good? Cause remember, if you do the first read in March, the second read is in April. So if you wanna really get through the rest of the updates, we really have to get on it between March and April. Okay, all right. On to budget transfers. So Bob, who's been very patiently awaiting this really exciting.
Basically this is yeah, that would be great if somebody could share it.
Thanks, Brian.
I had everything else queued up, but I didn't queue that up.
So we are at a point where we're, this was run about 2 weeks ago. Our practice and it's recommended best practices to have the school committee approve budget transfers between the categories and levels they approve at on a quarterly basis. So this is a year-to-date update. The request will be for you to approve the transfers and adjustment listed in the second set of numbers listed on this spreadsheet. Just at a very high level, I've listed some of the comments and drivers in the notes section down below. Big picture wise, there's about 1.6 million left out of the $40 million budget, so about 3% change. Most of our remaining costs are already encumbered. We encumber salaries and things like that. So I just wanted to give you a picture over on the far right. There's basically fixed charges and debt service that we know we're gonna spend that I back out to arrive at that number. So I'm assuming that you've read it. I'm not necessarily gonna read through it again, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? All right, so this is up for a vote. Would anyone?
I move that we approve the FY26 budget transfers as presented tonight.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And then last, before we go into our exec session, the Carlisle Finance Committee, you should have a letter from the Carlisle Finance Committee requesting a reduction of $100,000. And this Bob has also written a memo on. So I'm gonna turn this to Brian and Bob and Lori for you to kind of lead us through this discussion.
Yeah, the only thing I was gonna stress was a reduction to Carlisle of 100,000 has to be multiplied with Concord's share, which totals a $400,000 reduction. So that's actually the translation, which that's problematic. So I'll leave it to the two of you to take
I think everybody knows the context here, just Carlisle is just trying to control the overall budget increase. Obviously, we have the assessment. I personally think Lori Bob has done a great job of presenting a budget that overall does not have a very large increase. I can't remember the number off the top of my head right now.
Below 2%.
But yes, thank you, below 2%. But of course, it does translate as the 9% plus to Carlisle. So and I just appreciate that they've taken the time. This came in at the end of last week after Carlisle's marathon budget hearings or discussions with FinCom, and I think any even small step is a benefit right now over there.
So we're at 1.59% increase versus last year overall. Because of the shift in enrollment, Carlisle's increase is 9.37%, Concord's is negative 0.79%. So that's just the backdrop of where we are. There are already some reductions built into this. The things that we've identified, though, there are two updates. The governor's budget that kicks off the budget process in the state was released, and we see from that their guidance is telling us that we're going to receive $90,265 more than I had in the initial budget. So that is something we are fairly certain we'll realize. The next steps in the budget process don't typically reduce that number, so I do feel like that's something that we could change. And 25% of that would benefit Carlisle. And then health insurance, we don't know what the number is, but we budgeted an increase of 12%. And at the time, we were told that the range was going to be fairly high, or they thought it was going to be fairly high, and they recommended budgeting at least double digits. What we've recently heard from Maya is the Massachusetts Interlocal Insurance Association. They are a pool of all the any districts that opt to participate in it, towns, school districts, regional districts. It's a pool. Part of your rate's based on how the whole pool does. Part of it's based on how you do. But they've communicated their rate range of being between 2.9% and 14.4%, an average of 8.3. We don't know if we're going to get the average. I think we deserve to get at least that based on what I see for our premiums versus claims, but that's not up to me, and we've only been with them for a short time. So, we can't be certain about this right now. But if we did end up at the average, which is 8.3, instead of what we budgeted for 12, that would reduce this further by $75,166. So, if we get that news, I think we could make that reduction, but I would not. We're not asking for a vote tonight because we don't know if that's guaranteed. And on the state aid, I don't know if anybody had questions, but just Chapter 70 is the primary funding source for school districts in the state. It's a progressive system where wealthy districts like ours tend to be mostly funded through taxation and not through Chapter 70. A district like Springfield or Worcester gets a lot more Chapter 70 as a percentage of their budget, and less is based on taxes, so it's a progressive system. Chapter 71 is regional transportation, and charter reimbursement is basically they give you some money when you have students going out to charter schools to, I really don't know why they do it, but it's a reimbursement that you get to offset some of the lost, because we're paying tuitions for these students, so we get revenue to help us cover that transition and be able to budget for it. But anyways, but that's charter reimbursement is associated with us having charter students who go somewhere else. In the early years when a student goes out, you get a reimbursement for it. So hopefully those things make sense. I don't know if any of these things are new to some members of the community.
That's like cherry sheets is probably new. Do you wanna just explain the cherry sheet?
Cherry sheet is the term for the estimates that come out from the Department of Revenue. And it's based, they work with Department of Elementary and Secondary Ed, but they post cherry sheets for every school district across the state on state revenues, both for school districts and for towns. And so a lot of us wait for that to see what we think we're gonna get for revenue, but our budget process is earlier than a lot of towns and school districts, so we have to provide an estimate to you before that information is released, and it wouldn't be prudent to budget too aggressively on revenue, because typically the towns don't want us to see us reducing, asking for more after a first pass.
Yeah, and typically you'll see something like, it usually comes from Tracy Novak from MASC regarding like DOR or DLS is just given an update, or the cherry sheets are out, and you're probably like, what are all these things and all these acronyms? And it is true, like a lot of, like now you're seeing articles of the MIC about other districts and their budgets, because their budgeting process is much later than ours. And some do it after all of these numbers are released, and then they're just kind of doing it once. We just do it a couple times.
So cherry sheets usually come out in January.
The last typically somewhere between the 20th to late January. And then the next step in the process goes to the House Ways and Means Committee, and then the Senate Ways and Means Committee, and then there's a reconciliation. They reconcile each other's data because they might not be the same, and they hash out what they agree to. So that process is gonna be going on for a while, and in the meantime, we have to get a budget approved. It's not quite synced up state and
No.
local processes, so.
Definitely not. Right, any other questions?
No, and I just wanna, I don't know if we highlighted this, it's in the memo, but the Carlisle ask is the 100K, but no impact to educational services, so, you know, that is the other
Piece of
challenge.
it.
Yeah.
Is that even possible? Like, could you possibly make $400,000 in cuts? Yeah. I
No.
We would have done that.
But yeah, that's what I was
I mean,
thinking. I was
it's-
like, how would we,
Exactly.
Yeah.
we wouldn't.
I think, and I don't, I think they heard us talk about not funding OPEB and potentially putting in a capital. And I think that's a little where they're thinking like, maybe we just don't do any of that.
Yeah.
You could not drop the budget, that delta, because you're gonna have to put it back. And it needs to go either OPEB or capital, I think is our
Yeah,
recommendation.
yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think you have a year to say, never mind, we'll lower the budget, and then, I mean, the ask would be huge next year to put it back in, so.
Yeah.
I think that's most of where the ask
I
is
think
coming
so,
from, and I
yeah.
think this'll help us start having discussions with them about where we are. We just wanted you to all have the information before we started sharing it with Carlisle.
Do we owe them an answer after
We
this
said
meeting?
that we wanted to have so their meeting is tonight, so they were
Okay.
hoping for responses
Yeah.
tonight. I went back to the chair and just said, we've gotta bring this to the committee, so we're not gonna make your deadline. Also, don't forget 100K is 400K,
yeah.
and he acknowledged that, so just need to go back.
Is your sense, excuse me, is your sense that like their support of the budget, like are they, I haven't seen their conversations to date, but can you speak to their overall support of the budget to date?
So I think overall support, I think so this year their sort of reviews with different departments, it was the first time that the two school districts were back to back. It was a very different tone between the two. Quite frankly, I felt like the region got a little more pressure than Carlisle did. But I think they understand, like, why do people move to Carlisle? You move to Carlisle because of the schools. Like, I think they understand that at the end of the day. And so, you know, I think they've got to ask these questions. But I think they will also collaborate when we say, here's the good things that we know, but here are the things we can't do. I'm optimistic that there'll still be, you know, support as we run into town meeting.
They're under a lot of stress.
Yeah, I understand that.
appreciate
I do appreciate that.
pressures.
Can I add something about I forgot that Dr. Hunt mentioned the cap, the OPEB. So we had proposed repurposing OPEB to capital. I think Andrew Hercheck didn't like my recommendation. I know so the school committee wasn't universal about it, but it was a way for us to try to fund a capital project that we know we're gonna need to do for the turf replacement. The town of Carlisle doesn't like the concept of us prepaying for capital. I wanna point out, I think it's important to point out that by moving into capital stabilization, 179 of what we were gonna put into capital stabilization is for things that we need to do right away. It's for maintenance truck, it's for some of its specific maintenance projects at the high school. So it's $179,000 of capital projects that we still need to fund, so we can't not fund that. We need to, it doesn't have to go into capital stabilization, but it has to go, we can fund it just directly to a capital account. And we still need them to assess it, and then if we took the OPEB out, it's gonna have to get back in sometime. You can't, we're gonna be
and you're gonna
creating
have a-
structural deficit, and I don't think they want that either, because they're just gonna get an increase the year after. So we would potentially come back and instead of moving to capital stabilization, we potentially will come back later and ask that we reduce the OPEB by $179,000, still leave $196,000 in it, but that way we can fund the same $375,000 for OPEB, but it would be for capital projects and OPEB combined. And we can lay that out.
That's an option.
Yeah.
Right, I don't think we're sure.
But we need that money for capital.
There's
So-
some that is not turf, is the message we wanna be clear about.
Yeah.
In Carlisle, the preference would be to use CPC funds for turf. We have, at this point, for a town our size, substantial CPC funds, so if it can be used for recreation, as turf is one of those options. That was the feedback the other day.
And in Concord, CPC will not fund turf.
And then we get into like the amenities building last year,
Yeah, right,
that was
right.
tricky logistics.
It's tricky. So do you feel like you have enough information from this committee, going back?
I mean, I think, as long as, I'm not hearing any concerns from anybody, so I think between the three of us, we can
Okay.
get back to them and go from there.
Okay, great. All right, now we are ready to go into exec session. So, does anyone have the language up?
I move that the Concord School Committee and the Concord Carlisle School Committee will enter into executive session pursuant to MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A7 to comply with and act under authority of or any general special law or federal grant and aid requirements, specifically MGL Chapter 30A 22F and G with regard to the review, approval, and consideration for disclosure of executive session minutes from November 5, 2025, as well as MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A, for which the executive session was originally held and under Purpose 3 with respect to bus driver incentives. The committee will not return to open session.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call. Who's first?
I guess I am, because Andrew's not here.
Yes.
So Kelleher, aye.
Morano, aye.
Kishardi,
Rankin, aye.
Watterson, aye.
Williams, aye.
All right, thanks, everybody.